Wow. Already an F-bomb. We're only like 15 seconds in and we're already doing an F-bomb.
Yes.
Welcome to the weekly chat with Nick and Pat. Today is
Hello.
today is August 31st. It's the last day of August.
I know.
It's one single
Last day of Hot Girl Summer. Tomorrow is beginning of Spooky Bitch Fall. Where
that's,
are all my spooky bitches at?
that's right.
You can take,
So
although it
I
is it is the pumpkin spice must flow though. I'm
Oh
already
yeah,
seeing it
the pumpkin
everywhere.
spice. Yeah. Well, they start that as soon as like even I've seen it as early as like July, where people are like, oh, pumpkin spice candles, pumpkin spice latte. Here's all this stuff. It's like it's fall. It's like no, it's not. Like the 4th of July just happened.
Oh god.
About so, what what do you want to bet is the first day that you start seeing Christmas supplies in like a grocery store? You know what I mean?
October 16th.
Oh man, you're being very generous. I was gonna say like September 4th or something.
Damn, you're gonna give it like a almost a 3 month
They
advance.
every year they
It
get
does get it.
more and more like aggressive when it comes to like we gotta have Christmas stuff in the stores. Like yeah, and then also it stays in the stores until about halfway
Until
through. Like
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 St. Patty's Day. It
right,
stays around. It nothing like a capital. Oh, jeez.
good old capitalism.
I know.
Um,
I'm so tired. I'm so tired. It's like, God damn it. 4th of July was just here. It was
right.
just here. And now it's almost September. Are we
Uh,
just getting old?
well, there's that. But also I'm reminded. You know what? I'm reminded of that one episode of Classic Simpsons. And by the way, I have to start calling like I have to differentiate between regular Simpsons and classic Simpsons because I'm so sick of being like, hey, you remember that one Simpsons joke that was really funny? And it's like, wait, are you talking about from the classic era or the new era? So like, there was that one classic Simpsons episode where that company made up that holiday Love Day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of guys in a boardroom, and they're like, we have to come up with a day. We need something to sell cards and chocolates and hearts, but you know something that's like non-denominational, something that's like really marketable, something like Love Day. And then they smash cut to Marge like Happy Love Day, everybody.
It's like, what was that holiday that's really famous on Seinfeld? Festivus. The
Oh yeah,
Festivus
yeah, yeah,
Super
yeah.
Bowl.
I'm the holiday armadillo.
Oh God. It seems like they how many new if you okay, here's a question I want to pose to you. If
Yes.
you were to come up with a holiday based on any subject matter, what would it be and what day would it
Well,
be?
okay, so let me say, I have a lot of experience with this because I listen to the Even More News podcast every week. I listen to it pretty religiously. Um,
That's the guy, that's the one with Cody Johnson, right?
yeah, Cody Johnson and Katie Stoll from Cracked and from College Humor, kind of that era of content. I think they're most well known for like Cracked and like After
Back
Hours
in
and
after
stuff.
hours.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, the last couple of years they've been cranking out content. But anyway, at the beginning of all of their episodes, Katie has this bit where she will look up like what international day it is, and so here's a couple that were on the show. Happy International Donut Day. Happy International Twin Day. Happy International Shark Awareness Day. Uh,
Is that just they already get their own week.
that's right. They need another day,
Oh,
and so
they need a
eh, so
6 day
it,
work week.
so you can literally go online and type in like what holidays are like what day is it today, and like every day of the year is some like oh Happy International Hot Dog Day, Nick. Like you can just
Uh,
we've got to this point.
Happy Foot Fetish Appreciation
That,
Day.
there you go. That's right. So you could just so from what I can tell, if you're someone if you're an older lady on the internet and you use Tumblr, you could just start making up days.
I think that's more of the Pinterest crowd.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
yeah. Oh God,
Well,
we should
Nick,
come
I
up with
want to
a
give you a
holiday.
happy international
It's pot.
t-shirt day.
Oh yeah. Isn't that every day?
That's right.
Oh God.
Happy International Breathing Day, Nick.
Happy International Baked Beans Day.
That's right. Thank you.
We're actually we actually celebrate the postmodern Bush's classic baked beans era.
That's right.
We don't
That hey
we
hey actually no we don't. That dog is treacherous. The dog in the Bush's baked beans commercial always
That's
trying to
right.
give,
He's
always trying to give away the secret.
The rest.
He's always trying to give away the secrets. That
Yeah,
that treacherous mutt.
He's old hippie. It's like you can't put a lid on this recipe, man. It needs to be shared with the world.
It's a
It's
trade.
like,
It's a Bush family trade secret. You traitorous mutt. No.
it's
No.
right now.
We here at the
Right.
Weekly Chat are anti-Bush's baked beans.
I love Bush's baked
Just
beans.
just how like
Don't-
just how like Goya beans became an international hot button issue. The Weekly Chat takes a firm stance against Bush's baked beans.
I will be the defender of Bush's baked beans. It's
Oh
been
my
in my
God.
cabinet since I've been 10 years old.
That's that's gonna be the straw that broke the camel's back. The Weekly Chat is officially over. This is the final episode.
The show. All
Goodbye.
right, the show's canceled.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
No, get back here. JK. Anyway, so we have stuff to talk about this week. Let me get my phone out and pull up Discord on my phone. By the way, right here at the top of the hour, you should, if you're watching this on Twitch, you should totally hit that follow button. On both my
like and subscribe. Make sure to comment within the first hour of the show. It really helps us out.
It increases our
Also,
engagement with the algorithm.
This is true. And also, if you want to watch this show live, make sure to follow us on Twitch too, Unlucky Magician 76 and the Obsidian Man.
That's right. Also, if you're watching this on Twitch and you want to know where to find, if you for example missed the live broadcast and you want to catch if you want to catch it on your own time or you want to listen to it kind of like as a normal podcast, well, good news, you can go to youtube.com/The Weekly Chat with Nick and Pat, where we upload new episodes every single Friday.
Every Friday.
No, every other Friday.
Oh, every other Friday.
Yeah.
That's right. Sorry, I'm so used to the old schedule.
Yeah, exactly. Nowadays it's every other
By the
Friday.
way,
Yeah.
I got some projects coming down the works.
Got some
I'm
projects.
learning how to video edit, so hopefully you'll be seeing little bite-sized clips on the
Yeah, we're
YouTube
working
channel.
on doing potential like clip kind of short form content, kind of taking some of the juiciest bits from the show and kind of repackaging them to be cool and hip like the kids.
Exactly. Also, I have an announcement to make for the show. Let me go grab the box real quick.
An announcement. I wasn't told about this.
You guys want to see some real speed?
Oh, here we go.
I'll show you some real speed. I got it. I got an Elgato. Oh, sponsored by Elgato. No, we're not sponsored by Elgato.
Sponsored by Elgato. Sponsored by Elgato. Not, I wish, but yeah,
I
I have that same capture card as well.
Yeah, I am so excited to start streaming with this damn thing.
It's a good card. I think you'll really enjoy it.
Yeah, it works so far. I want to see if I could try to decrease the input lag a little bit.
Oh yeah, you can mess with that in Streamlabs and OBS. There's ways to like, you might have to look up a video tutorial, but there are ways to fix that.
You know, because like it's not like
it's like it's like
half a second.
Yeah,
late.
yeah. This is what I was telling you about when you were we were talking because we were talking about this about a week ago because Nick was like I'm in the market for a capture card. Do you like your Elgato? And I said yeah, I do. It does have like a half-second like delay in the audio sometimes. And
especially if I'm going to be playing something that like I really need my my reaction time.
Yeah.
Like, on point. Like I tried a round of that Gundam game.
Oh, Battle Operation.
Battle Operation 2.
Yeah.
And like I lost so bad because like you need to be on your shit when you're playing that game. You need like tight reflexes, and I'm just like. It's like trying to drive a car in oil. It's so slippery everywhere. But yeah, I'm super excited.
Yeah, and we might be streaming, and because of that, we might be streaming some Switch games, some multiplayer Switch games or whatever. We were also talking about doing a stream where Nick plays Fire Emblem Three Houses, and I coach him while he does it.
Yes, that's gonna be so much.
That might be fun.
Yeah, probably that. We should do it. I was thinking about. I already played through one route that I accidentally fucked up on because I didn't want to go on that route.
Right.
Oh, how wrong! I was so upset. I had it. What was it? White snow.
So when you pick Black Eagles, when you start the game and you pick Edelgard as the house that you follow, so unlike Blue Lions and Golden Deer, like if you pick that route, you stay with that route the entire game. There's no divergent paths. When you pick Black Eagles, however, there's a very pivotal moment in the game that drastically changes the. And I'll try to avoid spoilers, but there's a moment where you, as the player, get to make a choice, and that choice drastically changes the direction of the game. And so here's the thing. I actually learned about this recently because I watched some behind the scenes videos about Three Houses. Did you know? Originally, the developers of the game they wanted to make that choice way harder to find. Like it was, they wanted to make that split in the route way harder to find for players to find because they actually wanted
It's
they
like trying to
actually
find
the
true
developers of the
ending.
game actually wanted what happened to you to happen to everybody on their first playthrough. They wanted to be like, aha, we want to trick people into like picking this route and then having Edelgard betray them because that'd be funny as hell. I said,
I was so upset. I put so much time and effort into raising her and Hubert. Oh, that threw off my army plans so bad.
yeah, especially since
So bad.
Hubert is actually he's pretty much the only character in the game that is like any good as a dark mage because pretty much every other character stinks as a dark mage.
Yeah, that's true.
Um,
What did I have my Dorothea? She was. I can't remember. She was my
probably
spell
like
count.
probably a Grimoire. Grimoire is like the master level. So like there are a lot of the classes in the game. A lot of the master classes are gender specific. So you probably
Uh-huh.
had her be a Grimoire, which is the highest level female magic class that you can pick.
I don't know
You
if it
you
was that.
you probably had her as a Grimoire, and if
I
not,
didn't,
probably
didn't
probably
really
just
do that many master classes.
you. Oh, you did do master classes, really?
I only did a few, but that's
Oh,
about it.
okay.
I didn't have too
Uh,
many of the seals.
Anyway, we should probably move. As much as I would love to talk about Three Houses, by the way, hashtag Blue Lions for life. We should probably move on to the show proper.
I need my white-haired waifu.
So for come on, Discord on my phone, Discord on my computer. It's all bad.
It's all
Bad, bad,
fucking
bad,
up.
bad, bad. So first things first. This comes from an article courtesy of GameSpot. So thanks, GameSpot.
I can't
Train.
believe they're still around.
Wait, what?
GameSpot.
Wait, what did
I
you say
can't
about
believe it's-
GameSpot?
I can't believe they're still around.
Oh yeah. They're kind of a dinosaur, right? That's true.
Yeah.
They were around pretty much during the same time as like Game Trailers, IGN,
Game Informer.
Game
Game
Informer.
Informer's-
I think GameInformer.com is still a thing. I think they still sell. If I'm not mistaken, I think they still sell the magazine, don't they?
I don't know. I haven't been to a GameStop in so long.
But
I
anyway,
haven't been to a GameStop in like 2 years.
so Train to Busan, which is a movie from South Korea. It's a
Yeah.
it's probably in my opinion one of the best zombie movie probably the best zombie movie ever made. Okay, like
Well,
let me back that up a little bit. It's the best zombie drama ever made. So like I
But
think
what about the walkers, Carl?
when it comes to like zombie comedy and like I don't know, maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. I think that there is a distinct difference between like the zombie drama stuff like 28 Days Later, stuff like
Warm bodies and all that stuff.
oh shoot, what are those Romero movies called? Like Day of the Dead and stuff like that, and like
Romero zombies.
yeah, Romero zombies. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like all of his movies, and there's a difference between
You
like
know,
that
you
stuff.
made it in life when your movie is when your
Dawn
theme
of the
for
Dead.
your
Sorry,
zombie-
Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn
Sorry.
of the Dead. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a
Or
difference.
Night of the Living Dead.
There's a difference between like Dawn of the Dead and Shaun of the Dead. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So stuff like Zombieland and stuff like Shaun of the Dead, they're kind of like two different
Dead, too.
genres. Yeah, Evil
count.
Dead, stuff like that. There's like horror comedy, and then there's like horror like actual like scary horror, right?
Yeah,
And I think
like
Train to Busan is
28
probably.
days later, and
I think Train to Busan is probably my favorite like dramatic zombie film.
Mhm.
Just because I feel more so than even stuff like 28 Days Later and other movies
Okay.
like it. What is that movie about? Oh shoot, I'm blanking on it. Children of Man, even stuff like that, right?
that's
Uh,
not a zombie movie.
it's not a zombie movie, but it kind of has that like similar feel. You know what I'm saying? Like it's sort of this like survive like. The human race is dying off, and we have to like survive, and that well.
Oh, really? I thought Children of Men was more like a 1984 like dystopian thing. I didn't
It-
really equate it to zombies.
Oh, I mean, fair enough. But anyway, yeah. The point being, I like Train to Busan quite a bit. It's a very good movie. I'd recommend
you-
I'd
we
recommend
should
you all
watch
check it out.
We
But
should watch it.
Yeah, we should actually this year. That'd be a great idea, actually.
Mhm.
So the reason I bring up Train to Busan in the first place is because it was confirmed by this GameSpot article that it is getting a American remake. Wow. And so I wanted to use this as an excuse to talk about this trend line where Hollywood over the past, honestly, for
Forever.
probably like the last like 50, 60 years, they
Mhm.
have this really, Hollywood has this really weird habit of like any time that there is anything successful or unique that comes out of Asian cinema, America
We
just wants to
gotta
like,
swoop in on that.
America just is chomping at the bit to come in and buy the rights to it and then
Yeah.
make sort of like an American remake version. Uh,
Like a
no,
classic example of this is the movie The Seven Samurai
right.
is also like the
Here's a couple movies that I'm talking about for this specific thing that I'm talking about. Um, for years, there has been discussion about, and it's been in production hell for like literally like 20 years. An
has
Akira
it really been
movie has always been like been talked about and in the works. It's been in development hell.
just
Best picture winner from 2019, Parasite, was purchased, I believe, by Amazon. And they're making their own live action. I think it's gonna be a series, not a movie. They're making like a Parasite series. Your Name. J.J. Abrams was at one point attached to the
yeah,
project.
that's right. I forgot
JJ
about
JJ
that.
Abrams was at one point attached to direct a Your Name live action American remake movie. That is still kind of in development hell at the moment. Likewise, Evangelion has been a project that has been shopped around by I think Warner Brothers for a long time. They had the right.
Warner Brothers had it for a while.
They had
Yeah.
they had the rights to it. I don't know if anyone actually like did pre-production, but they bought the filmmaking rights for it. So stuff and more recent examples of this include like Ghost in the Shell, the Scarlett Johansson version, the American version starring Scarlett Johansson. The recent Godzilla movies, the American made Godzillas, which I do not care for at all, really. I know you know some people your mileage may vary. I don't care for those movies one bit.
They're
Um,
okay. They're kind of boring.
yeah. And so those are kind of like the junk examples. However, just to be fair, and you know, just to completely be transparent about this whole topic, sometimes America has done this, and it's actually. By the way, I didn't know this, but when I was doing research for this topic, did you know in 2013 they made an American remake of Old Boy? Did you know that?
Yeah, it's Josh Brolin is the guy that gets kidnapped.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Oh my damn. I saw the trailer for it. I'm like, no. No, 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 no. Stop it.
God, do they even have the same twist? I don't even know if
There and
they
then
would, they
there's
would have the balls.
there's also stuff like the American Netflix Death Note. I kind of don't count that in the same ballpark because that's kind of like they're sort of trying to make like a live action anime type of thing. Anyway, but anyway, here are some
It's
actual
it's
good
close
examples.
enough.
As much as we kind of are kind of dumping on the idea of American remakes of Asian properties, here's actually a couple of examples that are, in my opinion, actually pretty good, and why I feel conflicted kind of talking about this. The Ring is an I can't even talk. The Ring is an American retelling of The Grudge. The Magnificent Seven, which is a cowboy movie. The Magnificent Seven is a like Western remake of of Seven Samurai, and I didn't know this, but you know the movie The Departed, like Scorsese's the Departed.
Really? That was based off
Yeah,
of manga?
yeah. Well, not a manga.
Huh.
It was a Chinese movie called Internal Affairs. Yeah, he's
Oh.
pretty blatant. He even admits it in interviews that like yeah, this movie was heavily inspired by the movie Internal Affairs.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So there are some kind of pros and cons to this system, but in general, how do we feel about this idea that anytime that uh, Asian cinema creates something original, that America just has this like frothing desire to come and snap it up? What are your? Because like I have a take on this, but I want to hear your take first.
See, like, I try to see things by a case basis. It's more like it's not something I like enjoy, but it's something I'm like fascinated by because like I love the originals so much. And I would like to think by me supporting both versions, you know, it kind of cements its legacy a little bit longer. But honestly, there have been so many more misses than hits.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
most definitely for sure.
I mean, how many good ones can we count on my one hand? There's like Magnificent Seven,
I like The Ring. The Ring is a good movie.
Ring, The Grudge. What's another?
I think we talked about The Departed. I think The Departed is a good movie.
I've never seen The Departed. It's one of the only few Scorsese movies I haven't seen.
And I mean, okay, I don't like these movies, but I'm gonna give credit to the new Godzilla trilogy. They have an audience. It's just not me.
Yeah, it's consistent.
Right. No, but my kind of my take on this is that like I feel like a lot of the time these American like directors and these kind of boardroom type of guys who like buy IP, they buy IPs to make successful, like they look at successful properties and they're like, ah yeah, we need to snap that up right away. I don't think a lot of them understand that a lot of the time the cultural context of these movies and where they are made and where they're produced, they are very much relevant to the locations of those movies. So for example, one of the reasons I think that Ghost in the Shell, the American version, did not work is because the original Ghost in the Shell. I'm not talking about the manga. I'm talking about the movie. I'm talking about I'm talking about the movie from the early 2000s. I'm not talking about the original manga, which is a different animal for sure.
Yes, it is.
I'm talking about the original movie. One of the reasons I think that movie works as opposed to the American version, which feels like very bland and boring, and it feels kind of like it feels off. And the reason I think
that movie makes me so sad because like there's some effort put into it.
Oh, for
It
sure.
just kinda falls
And I even think
flat.
Scarlett Johansson is like not even miscast or anything. But like,
she's not bad as the major.
but the reason that I don't like one of the reasons I don't think that movie works is because the fact that movie takes place in Japan and in Asia is very much relevant to the themes, the plot, and the story of that movie. And so when it's like when you copy and paste a movie into a different setting, I don't think it necessarily works in that same way. So in the good example, so like for example, I'm glad that they remade Seven Samurai and they made it a western, because like a western is like a distinctly American idea, right? America, especially when it comes to like really old movie culture. Like we used to be like the nation that cranked out like so many westerns that people got sick of westerns because we made so many of them. So I think that's a good call.
I kind of feel like we're heading towards the tail end of like that era
for superhero movies.
For superhero movies, yeah.
Oh sure.
I think we're getting to the apex of it.
I mean, I'm already at the burnout. Like, this is a completely different conversation, but I'm already at the burnout point. Like Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings. Like, unless a friend asks me to go see it, I don't care. Like,
you want to go see it?
I mean, if there's nothing else that I want to, like, that's how I treat all of these Star Wars movies and all these Marvel movies now. And by the way, like the discourse surrounding these movies is a goddamn nightmare. Because when I say like, oh, you know what, I don't really feel like going to go see the new Shang-Chi, or I don't feel like going to go see the new like Ant-Man or whatever, it's gonna be this whole thing where like, oh, like you're like boycotting Marvel. I'm like, no, I'm just sick of these movies. Like, you know,
remember at one point where we got 3 Marvel movies a year,
and it's the same thing with Star Wars, right? Where it's like
it's within like 3 or 4 months of each other that they come out.
It's sort of the same deal with me with Star Wars, where like we have so many of these movies coming out in such quick succession, and I'm already kind of not like here's the I'm actually like when it comes to Marvel movies, I tend to kind of be a little bit more forgiving of those movies because I do like the Marvel canon of superheroes. Like I like the original source material. When it comes to Star Wars, I have far less patience because when it comes to the original trilogy, which everyone kind of puts up on a pedestal as being one of the greatest trilogies of all time,
it is.
I look at it like I understand like why it's culturally important, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's a reason why. Like I can watch the movies and be like, oh, there's a reason why these movies have such a devout cult following, and they were like they had like this extreme cultural impact, yada yada yada. But like, do I personally love them? Like, not really.
Can I pose a question to you?
Yeah.
What do you think is going to be the next big thing? Like we had
the next
fantasy
trend, you're saying?
The next trend, yeah. Because we had like fantasy in the early 2000s. Then we kind of have superheroes for like the late to.
You know what I think is going to make kind of a comeback? And it's kind of had a lull for it's this genre was extremely popular, but I think in the last couple of years it's kind of fallen off. Um, I definitely think we're gonna get way more like post-apocalyptic like YA fiction movies. So
Like
uh,
like
uh
Days After, like
the
The Road.
the Maze Runner, the Hunger Games, like that kind of stuff, right? Like I think that genre is kind of poised for a comeback because
Mhm.
or like some different flavor of that, right? I think a lot of people are looking for like when we were growing up, the big fantasy franchise for young adults and kids was Harry Potter and Twilight, right? And so for
Don't
years
forget
they
Lord of the Rings.
and I mean, I'm talking about like like teenager preteen, but like sure, we'll throw Lord of the Rings in there too. Why not? But I think that people have been kind of chasing the dragon, as it were, for the next kind of like, oh, we want to make
Next big
we want to
franchise.
make the next big Harry Potter franchise. We want to make the next Twilight. And so like that's why all those movies came out, like the Maze Runner and like Divergent. There was like the one about like the girl who was like possessed by like a parasite alien or whatever. You remember that?
I have no, that's not it.
I forget what it's called, but
yeah, the one that had like Chloe Grace
yeah.
Moretz
There,
on it.
there was like there was a YA movie about like alien invaders, and they come down and like they like possess people, and so the main character is this teenage girl, and she shares like a brain with like one of the aliens, and then they work together to kill the other aliens. I don't, but anyway, yeah. So like, there's that whole. I'm gonna call it like post-apocalyptic YA fiction. I think that like whatever the next like Harry Potter or Twilight novel comes out, like the next Hunger Games, whatever that big like I think we're poised for another like breakout YA novel, which will then get adapted into a series of successful movies.
You know what you need, or you know what they need to do? They need to take another crack at the Aragon books.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because this has been happening over the last couple months, but I follow Christopher Paolini, the author, on Twitter. Really cool guy, by the way. I actually need to. I feel bad. I haven't read In a Sea of Stars, his new sci-fi. But I haven't read it yet. I need to get around to reading it.
I didn't know
But
he had a sci-fi book.
yeah, he has a sci-fi book. It's the first. It's the first book in a new series called In a Sea of Stars. It apparently is. It has like sort of. It's sort of like It's like if you combined
Like,
it's like if you combined Dead Space with like weird Cthulhu type space aliens.
ooh, you had my
Yeah.
curiosity, but now you have my attention. That sounds
Yeah.
awesome.
It's sort of like the YA version of like Dead Space, and you mashed it up with like weird like Cthulhu type aliens. It's sort of in that
Oh,
similar kind of yeah.
you had me at Cthulhu
But
and
yeah,
Dead Space. I
if
mean,
that ever
it's kind
takes
of the
off,
same
if
genre.
that but so the reason I bring up Christopher Paolini is because over the last couple months on Twitter, and by the way, he did not organize these events, but just random fans on Twitter. So for years, so I always joke on this pod. I probably have joked about it a couple times about the Aragon movie, right? And how horrible it was, and how much of a blatant like. The problem with the Aragon movie is that one, it was very clear that the director and the creators just didn't quite understand the material they were working with, and two, they very clearly wanted to make like kind of like a Dragonheart, like they wanted to make kind of like a ripoff of Dragonheart and a ripoff of Lord of the Rings. And they wanted to kind of
Well, it's like it
mush
was
it
weird.
together in a movie.
Well, that's the thing that's weird about that
Eh,
movie. It's a kind of a weird mishmash of like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, and Harry Potter.
Okay, okay. So to be fair, so there are people who criticize the original books, and there's often the same kind of criticism of like, oh, the entire Aragon series is kind of a ripoff of.
It's kind of a New Hope, yeah.
It's kind of a ripoff. No, well, not even just that first book, but like the whole series is kind of like a retreading of Star Wars, because it's like, oh, you have this like young boy, and he like learns that he's like a chosen one, and he meets a wise mentor who's actually a secret perennial who has a secret past that he's not willing to tell him. Oh, and by the way, in the first entry in the series, his parental guardian figure dies, and so Aragon has to, and so the main
By
character has to
fire.
grow up on his own. Oh, and by the way, there's a secret underground resistance fighting against the corrupt kingdom, I mean empire, um, and by the way, yes, there is a princess who is a potential love interest, but then it turns out that there's a secret about the princess that makes it so that like, whoops, we actually can't be lovers anymore. Aragon and Luke Skywalker both have little animal psychic characters, and so it goes on and on and on like that, right? There are like parallels for sure, and like
Saphira is not nearly as annoying as C-3PO, though. I will say that.
oh my word, Aragon, put on my saddle, please.
It is time for us to ride in battle. Oh dear, oh dear.
That's
I cannot stand that guy.
Aragon is on the back of Saphira fighting Murtag or whatever, and Saphira's like, if we keep flying at this altitude, we only have a 27.3% chance of making it. And Aragon's like, never tell me the odds.
It's over, Dragon Rider. I have the high ground.
There is kind of a moment like that in the second book. It's similar to that, but not quite on that level. But anyway, like people do.
You underestimate my power.
But here's the thing, though. That argument roots itself in the idea that Star Wars like is a wholly original concept that like never borrowed anything from any other storytelling, which is complete horse pocky.
Oh God, what was the guy? The hero's journey.
Yeah, exactly.
What the hell was that guy?
Monomyth. Joseph Campbell.
Joseph Campbell. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I was like,
putting that English degree to work, baby.
Yeah.
No, anyway,
and I sort of absorb it through osmosis.
But yeah, I guess kind of winding back to our original conversation. I always feel like awkward whenever there's like an American studio and they announce like, yeah, we're gonna make a live action remake of like Your Name and like Weathering with You,
I'm so confused. Like, one of the things that makes Your Name very special is like
its setting. Like
it's the setting, but it's also the main theme and the main like Japanese.
The red pinky string of destiny is like a very Japanese thing. Like it's a very distinctly
red thread of like fate, or something like that. The pick of destiny.
So in a lot of Japanese media, there is kind of this trope or this like storytelling device, which is like I don't think it necessarily means that you're lovers, but like basically if you're really close to someone, there's this like metaphorical like you're tied together with these like red pinky strings that like it doesn't matter like where this person is or where you are, that you like it's this idea that you like metaphorically you're always connected regardless of how far away you are. And that movie is and that premise is really explored in the movie to like an insane degree because both the characters in the movie live in different time periods, and so it's this whole thing.
Spoiler, by the way.
Oh, I mean, spoilers for the first like 20 minutes of Your Name.
Yeah, Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's really weird because, like, I didn't realize when I first went to go see that movie, it was going to be a body switching movie.
Right.
But I didn't hate it by any stretch of the imagination. I was just like, oh, shit. I didn't think we were going to do a body swap sort of thing.
Right.
All right. I can mess with that.
Anyway, yeah, just in general, I feel it's like, I don't think a lot of these guys don't really understand, like, that you can't just copy and paste a story from a culture without, like, radically, like, unless you like radically retool it.
Stuff like Seven Samurai,
right?
You can totally get away with.
Like there's stuff like the concept of like spooky horror. Like I'll name a good example. Right, The Ring. The Ring is a really good horror movie because horror and fear of the unknown and like urban legends is a thing that transcends cultural boundaries. Right. So, like, you can take the concept of The Grudge and put it in an American setting because it's kind of like a universally, like, urban legends and scary stuff and, like, viral videos are, like, they're a common thing regardless of cultural boundaries, right? But, like, when you have, like, Your Name, I don't know if you can just copy-paste that and have it seamlessly transition into an American setting.
The Grudge or The Ring is the 7 Days one with the videotape?
That's the
Ring. Right?
That's The Ring, yeah. The Grudge is a similar movie. It's not. They're actually very different. But like The Ring is like inspired by The Grudge. By the way, that's the reason I actually really like The Ring a lot, because it's like a very, very loose like retelling of The Grudge. It kind of does its own thing, and I think it's actually stronger for that.
Can I tell my story about what, or can I explain my reason why I have not seen The Ring at all?
We talked about this on the podcast once, right? Where you haven't seen The Ring, and I'm still mad at you for this.
Yes.
Okay.
But did I ever explain the reason why I haven't seen
I
The
think you
Ring?
did. Yeah, I think you mentioned your brother or something.
My brother, yeah. Okay, so my brother, like, is this like 6'4", like 220 pound, like muscle man, stuff like that. He's one of the toughest guys that I know. He's always been one of the toughest guys that I've known. And I've never seen that guy scared of anything. But I remember when he was in high school and I was in elementary school, he was scared of The Ring. And I was like, oh my God.
Not to give too much away, but I kind of I think I understand why. So I think we've talked about Donnie Darko on the show before, and you and I have sat and watched the movie together. I believe like twice or two, honestly like 2 or 3 times now. We've seen it.
It's been like 3 times. I think I've actually seen the movie like 4 times.
And at least
I watched it.
And we watched it together several times, right? And so
Yeah.
the idea that like Donnie Darko isn't like a horror movie. It's kind of like a soul horror movie. Like it's not like
It's like The Shining, where like
it's not a jump scare movie. It's not like a scary ooga booga monster movie. It's like a soul horror movie where
you have this dark cloud over you after you watch it.
yeah,
for,
exactly.
like, at least
It's
a
less
day.
of like and it's less of an external movie and more of an internal movie. And The Ring is kind of in that same ballpark. Although some scary stuff definitely does, like more so than Donnie Darko. The Ring is definitely like there are some like actually horrifying moments in The Ring. But it's less of like it's less like it's less of a like Scream Queen
Creature
movie
feature.
and more of a kind of like internal kind of soul horror movie. At the end of the movie, you kind of feel like you're cursed. Like
You have like this sense of dread.
yeah, it's like
that just sort of sticks to you like a molasses.
yeah, exactly.
Oh God.
The ending of that movie is not necessarily like a happy ending, so
Most horror movies aren't really happy ending though.
Right.
To be fair. Oh man. I'm so
all right,
excited.
shall we move on to
You
our
got-
next
you
topic
got
of
me in-
discussion?
You got me in the mood to watch a horror movie.
I
don't know
had
which
The
one.
Ring yesterday. I was over at your house yesterday. We should have watched the actually yeah, we should have watched The Ring, but we'll watch it next time.
I don't know. I think we had
You
a
know
good
what?
substitute.
But before next episode, you and I are going to watch The Ring and then we're going to talk about it. We're going to
Deal.
watch The Ring and we'll talk about it. It'd be great.
Why don't we watch it next week?
But yeah, that's fine. Okay.
Oh, by the way, I want to pose a question to you.
Yeah.
Out of all those Japanese American-made movies,
Yeah.
which one is your favorite?
I'm really biased. I like The Ring a lot. Here's the thing about The Ring. It's less of, like I think that the movie itself is like legitimately a scary movie, but I also think that the culture in which that movie came out was also kind of important to its success. So it kind of came out during this era where
It's like the neo-renaissance of horror.
It was like
almost.
when The Ring came out, it was like just at the beginning of the era of DVDs. And so it was
Mhm.
one of those movies that you would go to Blockbuster or you'd go to like your local video
see it
store
everywhere.
and you would like be like, "Oh, hey, it's the weekend. You want to watch a scary as hell movie? Let's go rent The Ring."
Yeah, that was kind of like a weird neo-renaissance of horror. It was like Saw.
And yeah, it also
Grudge
it was
and
kind of
Hostel.
it was this movie that kind of broke the mold, that it was less of like a Friday the 13th kind of like slasher movie, and it was less of like oh shoot, like not Friday the 13th, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Freddy versus Jason or whatever. I was looking for Nightmare on Elm Street. It's less about Nightmare on Elm Street, less of like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, less of like a
It's kind of in between almost. It's kind of like not
Right.
quite Friday the 13th, but it's also not quite The Shining. It's kind of smack dab in the middle.
It kind of honestly, I think it was one of the first movies that really started the what I'm going to call like the low budget art house era of horror filmmaking, where it kind of inspired this idea of like, oh, we don't have to have like a serial killer be our main protagonist. We can actually like we can kind of explore new ideas on small budgets. And it kind of and I think that I think there's a direct correlation between stuff like The Ring and stuff like Saw, stuff like House of a Thousand Corpses, stuff like that.
I don't even remember the last Rob Zombie movie that I've seen.
But anyway,
I think it was-
yeah, it's a complex issue. If something like this comes up again, like if they ever do, I'm sort of horrified, but if they ever do make and American Evangelion, I'm so there. Just because there's no way in hell it can be any good. I just want to watch. It's like Batman. It's like the Butler and Batman. Like some men just want to watch the world burn, Master Wade. Like that would be me. I'll be like, oh, American Evangelion, please, please
Oh,
show
God.
me,
Otto would be
please
spitting
show
in his-
me the American Hollywood adaptation of Hideki
That's-
Anno's magnum opus. Please interpret this for me, America. I want to see what you think Evangelion means, because there's no. I hate to say this because it's gonna sound really pretentious, but like an adaptation of Evangelion is fucking impossible.
It really is.
It's impossible to adapt that anime manga and
Like,
do
just
it any
strip
kind of
it-
justice, because like,
If you strip it to its bare
and I'm not
bones-
even saying that like, oh, what if a really talented person did it? Like, it's not an issue of like talent, like directorial talent and like actor talent or whatever. It's just that like the story of Ava, especially if they're going off the original series and not the reboot films, that's impossible to adapt. Like, impossible.
Oh,
Anyway,
man.
we should move on.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, my favorite is the Magnificent Seven.
I
is
never saw it
my
actually.
favorite.
Is it good?
It's really good.
Now, are you
It's-
talking about the Magnificent Seven, the remake that came? There's two versions, right?
I'm talking about the one with Yul Brenner.
That's the first one, right? Because there's
first one, yeah.
there's two versions of this. There was one that was made, I believe, in like the 80s, 90s.
It was the 70s, yeah.
Oh yeah. And then there was one that came out, I believe, in like 2016, right?
I haven't seen that one. Our buddy Chris has seen it.
Yeah. It looked
I
okay.
think he liked it. It looks okay. It's got Chris Pratt.
The
in it.
only
Can't be that
exposure
bad.
I've gotten to the first one is through the Welcome to the Basement episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That
they-
was one of the main reasons why I watched it.
Yeah, it looks like a good movie.
It's
Anyway,
a great movie.
moving on. By the way, while I have you here, we already did our plugs and promotions earlier today, but I got one more for you. All right, check this
Okay.
out. You gotta pay attention. You gotta listen. All right. Greetings, boys and girls. Welcome to the ASMR portion of the weekly chat with Nick and Pat. Today, I'm here to briefly tell you and discuss with you the idea that you need to start following my OnlyFans. My bills have been extremely high lately because of the terrible economy and the coronavirus, which nobody wants to put on a goddamn mask for, but it's okay because everyone is entitled to their opinion, even if it's wrong. But because of that, times are tough. And so I need you guys to start following my exclusive ASMR streams on my OnlyFans. So there will be some ones that are publicly available that are PG-13 content, but if you want some of the secret spice, like the real rowdy, proudy, shouty content,
God.
you're going to have to subscribe to the high tier of my OnlyFans, which leads us into our transition into talking about the recent week-long fiasco involving the OnlyFans fiasco.
Seemed like
All
there's
right,
a
so
lot
let's talk
to
about
it.
OnlyFans.
Hey, let's talk about OnlyWans. Oh man.
So this is a circumstance in which I'm actually kind of glad about our new. This actually worked out really well for our new streaming schedule, because if we had reported on this incident the week it was happening, we would have not seen how it played out and how it all kind of ended up
And what an absolute
shaking out.
terrible shit show that it was.
So for anyone not in the know, and and I guess if you don't know at this point, hello, I'd love to live under that rock you're living under. Hang on, I have to
It's
drink
nice
some
and
water.
cold.
My stomach
Alright,
is trying
so-
to kill me.
Is it really?
Okay.
What'd you eat?
I had cottage cheese and yogurt this morning.
That'll do it.
No, but anyway, OnlyFans. So, as a lot of you guys probably know, OnlyFans is a kind of a
Subscription
membership
service?
subscription service, and it's very similar to services like Patreon, services like Coffee. Okay, by the way, is it Ko-fi or Coffee?
I always pronounce it as Kofi.
Oh, okay, because like I hear people say coffee all the time. Anyway, not important. Sorry, microphone. Not important.
Sponsored by Elgato.
Sponsored
No,
by-
I'm just kidding.
Sponsored by the Elgato Wave 3. When it comes to my smutty as fuck ASMR, I only trust Elgato products. Anyway,
We're
So
gonna
yeah,
use video capture to get my feet pics off of my
that's
DSLR
right,
to my hard
baby.
drive with the Elgato HD 60 Plus.
Oh god. Elgato's like checking these guys off the list.
Yeah, we're never. In fact, we need you to return that property.
Yeah, we
like
need
now.
to. In fact, we know you paid for it with your own money, but you actually owe us more money. You need to return the product and pay for it again because we're so
We
offended
need
by
to
our.
take them away for damages.
For yeah, we have to pay for damages. Exactly. Anyway, so
Oh, okay,
so
okay.
OnlyFans is a subscription based service, and so more so than any of the other platforms like Patreon and like Kickstarter, GoFundMe, Coffee, any of those similar type of platforms. Like Patreon is kind of known as like the creator subscription support platform. So you see a lot of people who are Twitch streamers, YouTube content creators. You see a lot of people who do like Etsy art. You see a lot of people who do like music. You see a lot of people who do like art, like actual like drawing, like commissions. They have Patreons. And that's kind of like it's sort of like the creative space where all the creatives go to do their independent kind of like off the grid funding, right? You have stuff like Coffee, which is sort of like Coffee kind of like
It's kind of weird because
Coffee
like,
sort of advertises itself
it's
as like
not
as like a tip jar, where
yeah,
like
it's a tip jar.
it's less of like a oh hey subscribe to my Patreon for like $10 a month or whatever, and it's more like hey do you have like $3 like I'd love that. It's
Yeah,
kind of
if
that
you
kind
have
of thing,
a shekel, throw it my way.
right? Uh, OnlyFans, however, is a very similar service. However, Nick, when you okay, honest question,
Go ahead.
when I say OnlyFans, what's the first thing that what's the first thing
Porn.
you think of?
Porn.
Not even just porn, but like can we agree
Adult content.
adult content?
Adult content.
Yes, not
Yes.
just porn. There's stuff, and I was joking earlier about my ASMR stuff. Although I'm not joking actually, but so I was joking about all that stuff. But like, there is like it tends to kind of lean to like an 18 plus
Yeah,
demographic.
it's an 18 plus service.
So like, there's stuff like naughty art and like and actual like adult entertainers. There's stuff like camp shows. There's stuff like like you get like an
They
album.
have like live streaming
Yeah,
capabilities
there's
too.
live streaming stuff. It's a lot of like and like now that's not to say that everybody on OnlyFans has 18 plus content. That's not true. There are like a couple other. There are people who play like piano
There's
and stuff.
free outlets.
Like
Is
there's
it really?
yeah, there's like it's not a it's a small contingent of people on the platform, but they're there. So it's not exclusively like an adult content support platform, but like predominantly. I'm gonna go ahead and
That's what it kind of got morphed into.
I'm gonna say about 80% of the people on OnlyFans. I think I'm gonna be generous and say 80%. It's probably honestly, I'm gonna be.
Oh no, those are rookie numbers.
I'm gonna be generous and say about 80%, and I'm pulling that out of my ass. I don't know if that's true or not.
I'm gonna say it's like 95% adult.
I'm gonna say about
content.
80% of the creators on the platform have some sort of 18 plus content. It might not be pornographic. It might be like I don't know fan fiction or whatever, like ASMR, like cam shows, like photo. Like if you subscribe to my OnlyFans, you get like every month you get like a portfolio of like nude photos, right, or whatever, right, like sexy photos.
You get like sets and stuff.
Yeah, so like that's sort of the pitch of OnlyFans. However, according to the CEO of OnlyFans, when they started the website, it wasn't really intended to be like an adult like kind of an adult support
Oh,
platform.
that's a Tumblr.
Well, yeah, hold on. I'm setting this up so we can knock it down. Hang on, I'm setting it up. I'm rewinding it up.
I'm greasing up my who's-its.
That's right. So OnlyFans, when it launched, it was sort of meant to be, in my opinion. I don't know if this is true.
Like,
in my opinion,
that's what
I
they
think it was.
said.
I think it was supposed to be
a-
a competitor for Patreon because Patreon is the
Yes.
top dog in the fight, right? Before
Yes.
OnlyFans was a thing, Patreon was kind of the king shit of the mountain, right? There's stuff like PayPal, but like PayPal is sort of like PayPal is in its own kind of like unique kind of category because
that's more of a transaction.
you can
company.
so like actually set up on my Twitch. If you're watching this stream right now, you could actually tip me via if you tip me right now, it's through PayPal. So like they do have setups to cash out to tip people for Twitch and for stuff like that.
Okay.
So there's a way to do, and I think in fact, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think most internal tools for Twitch donations are done through PayPal, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. It
Yeah.
is.
But anyway, so like PayPal is kind of its own thing. But I think in theory the idea that like OnlyFans was created to be a competitor to Patreon, but it's slowly the community that gravitated towards OnlyFans was this content I was talking about earlier, the 18 plus, the adult content, right?
Yes.
And by the way, not even just like porn, but like there are like animators on YouTube who like they do like bloody, like they do like gory kind of like
Stuff
NC-17
that
content.
Patreon would just kind of turn.
Yeah, exactly.
Turn
Like
its nose up at.
there's stuff
Like,
that
oh, I
like
don't wanna do.
Patreon kind of wants to have like this sort of it's like Disney, right? They want to have like a Disney style squeaky clean reputation, right? We
And then you have
support
stuff like,
we support like pure good boys and girls on our platform.
but
that-
on the but just like anybody else, they have a little side piece going on.
and in
like,
fact-
what was it Buena Vista Films?
Oh, I have no idea. But no,
Yeah.
so
They have,
anyway,
like, their own separate division.
here's kind of what happened based on the research that I did, right? So when Patreon and OnlyFans, they kind of were around at the same time. Patreon actually updated its terms of service because there used to be all kinds of adult entertainers and not strippers, but like adult and
Sure,
there was like porn stars and strippers and all kinds of like sort of adult rated content creators on Patreon, and Patreon basically put their foot down and said, we're not doing this anymore, you got to go somewhere else. But here's the thing, this backfired on them colossally because
didn't they have like a huge drop in customers?
they did, and guess where all those people went after being kicked off of Patreon?
OnlyFans.
That's right. And so essentially this niche audience basically took over OnlyFans, and they set up shop, and it became the definitive adult entertainment kind of like support platform. And for years, in my opinion, for years,
so much money.
For years, I think OnlyFans has leaned into this identity as being like a platform,
like for all it was worth,
like a safe haven for adult content, right? Because all these other, because like listen, at the end of the day, all of these people who are like strippers, sex workers, whatever, exhibitionists, like whatever, all these people who do this kind of like 18 plus content, like they have to like they want to make money and they want to make a living, right? So like if Patreon cuts off their only supply of like funding and their income, basically, they have to go somewhere else. And so where do they go but this other platform?
What was that movie? Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come.
Yeah, exactly. So they all gravitated towards OnlyFans, and I think for a long time, you're exactly right. They milked it for everything it was worth. They're like, I think OnlyFans was they
totally leaned
we
into it.
We have tolerance, and we think that adult content creators should get paid for their work, and we're like we're the bad boy alternative to that squeaky clean Patreon.
I think at one point, like the most subscribed person on OnlyFans was a girl named Belle Delphine or something like that.
Oh, I've heard of her. Yeah.
Yeah, she made so much goddamn money. I want you to guess how much money she
made.
In her first
I listened to it. There's an episode of the Even More News podcast where they interview one of the content creators on OnlyFans, and the way that she describes a lot of the people she worked with, and a lot of her like kind of like her coworkers, as it were, is that like some of these people made enough money to buy multiple houses. They're like, oh. Like she would have conversations with people off stream where she'd be, and they would be telling her like, yeah, I'm thinking about buying a second place in Malibu. It's like, what? You're making like that much money? Yeah, like
that much money.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm thinking about getting like a vacation house in Malibu. Like that's how much money these people were making, right?
So much money. Because I think OnlyFans, they make like 10 or 20% on the back end.
Yeah, I think it's like a 20% cut, which is really generous as opposed to Twitch, which is like a 50% cut. When it comes to it's so stupid, dude. And I think YouTube is like very similar. I think they have like a 30 to 40% cut or some crap. It's pretty ridiculous for sure.
Why don't you just stick the knife in me even deeper before like you just rob me?
Right. And so it was announced, I believe, about 2 weeks ago that like OnlyFans, they released a message on their social media that basically said, starting next October, OnlyFans will no longer support like adult rated content. And they did you read their little guidelines that they put out? Where like it's like, we'll allow some nudity if it's done tastefully. We'll allow some content as long as it's not sexually explicit. We'll allow
All nu-
like
almost all nudity is tasteful. Sometimes.
I mean, I think that's highly debatable. That's debatable depending on who you're talking about and the context of that statement. That's a very open-ended statement.
I know.
Yeah.
I meant it as such. It was supposed to be a joke.
Right. Okay. I thought you were serious. I'm like, oh god, I don't want to say something. I don't want to say something wrong. Okay.
No, I am totally kidding.
Okay. So I have a problem sometimes where like somebody will make a joke with me and it'll just like it'll go like right over my head.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my god, why would you say that? No, I'm just anyway.
If this video gets shown in court, I was totally kidding.
He's guilty, Your Honor. Look at him. Look at his eyes. That's right. Anyway, so they made this announcement that said, "Hey, we're starting in October. We're banning all adult content. We're just giving you some notice. Bye." And they just expected
everybody lost.
They just sometimes when it comes like sometimes corporations and CEOs are completely dumb. Like they like to imagine themselves as like, I'm the CEO of a big company, which means I'm a smart big boy, and I know better than everybody else.
No, you don't.
So like when it comes to, you remember we talked about Diablo Immortal and how I told you after the disastrous BlizzCon event that like behind the scenes after the fact all of the board members were like, we thought it would go off without a hitch. Like they did not expect the backlash for the announcement. And the same thing happened here with
OnlyFans. Listen to your audience.
They clearly did no research about this and they're just like, oh, well, we're banning all this content. And then they posted something on Twitter that said something to the effect of like, we didn't realize, we hear you. By the way, whenever a corporation or a CEO has a statement and it begins with like, we hear your concerns, you know that's basically corporatese for like, okay, listen, you got us. We were trying to directly fuck you over, but you got us.
Well, it's like apparently one of the reasons why they did this in the first place is because a lot of the credit card processing companies.
Yeah, I was gonna get there.
Yeah.
But no,
so apparently,
people, yeah.
You
want to
go?
Do you want to describe it? Go for it.
I'll describe it. Yeah.
Okay.
So places like Visa, MasterCard, Discover, like every single one of these credit processing companies, they do not like their names attached to adult content.
Exactly.
That's kind of how it. That's kind of how it's been for like time immemorial.
Essentially, like the big bank,
last 100 years.
The big chain of American banks.
Yeah, they said like, we don't want to run this.
Especially since a lot of the people who are board members sitting on the boards of those big banks tend to be conservatives. I'm just saying.
You're not wrong.
I'm just saying, a lot of these guys who sit on the, and by the way, when I did my own research on that, that's actually what it kind of led back to. There's this idea that not this idea. If you follow the clues, if you follow kind of like the line of logic, a lot of the people who sit on the board of stuff like of banks like Chase and Visa, like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, like all these big banks, a lot of these board members and like CEOs and like people in the company, they tend to lean more conservatively. So they look at stuff like Pornhub, and they look at stuff like OnlyFans, and they're like, we don't want our prestigious organization to be tied to smut. This is smut. You're gonna damage the children. Think of the children. Somebody please think of the children.
As the Wu-Tang Clan once said, "Fuck them kids, Wu-Tang."
But yeah, essentially a lot of
I didn't really think about it from
the
that
creator,
angle.
the creators of the CEO of OnlyFans and the people in charge of OnlyFans, they basically got peer pressured by all these banks who were basically like, the success of OnlyFans is in the hands of all these guys, right? They can make or break the service. So they had this big meeting in private, and they said, hey, you got to get adult content off your platform. You're making us look bad. You're making us a lot of money, but you're making us look bad. And OnlyFans was like, okay. Here's the thing. So when they made that announcement, I don't think that they realized just how many people on the internet would like have a shit fit over this. Like, I think that they're like,
for a lot of people, that is their livelihood. That is their job. And it is a job.
I don't think that like the people in a lot of these CEO types and a lot of these like investor types and a lot of these board member guys, I don't think they understand I don't think they understand that we live in the age of the internet, and like protesting and collective rioting is so easy to do, and like how these things are if you put even one toe out of line, the internet will know about it within seconds.
You'll just get blasted. You just got like immediately.
Articles are going to get written and retweeted within like literally 4 minutes.
I know, it went on to like the top 10 of Twitter within like
an
hour.
Once you start trending and once you start pissing people off, you basically, because I think at the end of the day, a lot of these corporations think that they're the ones in charge. At the end of the day, guess what, motherfuckers?
The almighty dollar.
We're your boss indirectly, not like directly, but like indirectly, with the collective power of capitalism and collective bargaining. Your customers are your boss. So when you do something to piss off your boss, they're gonna let you know about it. And once it's kind of out there in the world that like not only are you anti-adult content, you're like anti-freedom of expression, you're anti all this stuff, right? You're anti like sexuality, like all that stuff. That reputation is going to stick with you forever. Like there's this phrase, there's this very famous phrase, and I don't know who said it, but like it's that the internet never forgets.
No, not really.
The internet never forgets.
Nope.
Once you say something, that is like your identity. Even if you try to backpedal and say like, oh, on second thought, by the way, see also Blizzard. They do this all the time, where they'll say something stupid like don't you guys have cell phones, and then they'll try to walk it back. Or like the whole Blitzchung thing, that they had J. Allen Brack, recently fired guy from Blizzard. They had like J. Allen Brack come out.
Did he get fired?
Well,
I thought he resigned.
Well, it depends on who you want to believe. Because there are some stories that said that he resigned, but like, so a lot of the time when these guys like resign out of nowhere, it's basically like people
sorry, bud, we gotta throw you to the wolves.
Essentially, it's like, yeah, we can either fire you or you can quit, your choice. And I think that's what happened here. But so J. Allen Brack was like, we didn't deal with the Blitzchung thing. We had a bad esports moment, and we messed up, guys. Essentially, right? So that's what happened here. The internet threw a shit fit, which, and by the way, good. This is like the one instance where throwing a shit fit is a good thing. The internet threw its collective hands up in the air and said, nah, fuck that. And then OnlyFans backpedaled and was like, oh yeah, actually, you know what? Yeah, and by the way, I don't think they understood how much money they were gonna lose if all their adult content creators pulled. Not to be lewd about this, but like, I don't think they understood how bad it would be if they pulled out, as it were. I don't think they would. I don't think they realized how financially horrendous that would be for them if they pulled out.
Financially cucked they would be.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god. Because it was really funny, because I read about this. Apparently, 24 hours after the OnlyFans thing happened, this news site called like I don't know if this was around or not, but it was like Fansly or something. It's basically like an OnlyFans clone, and so many people were just flocking over there. They just went to the next best thing.
Okay, not to keep bringing up Blizzard again, but so when Diablo Immortal was announced, the same thing happened to the Path of Exile guys. So like,
really?
And by the way, depending on who you talk to, this was either completely coincidental or like, aha, my plan worked flawlessly. So that same day, like the same day that BlizzCon did its infamous "Don't you guys have cell phones" thing and announced Diablo Immortal, the guys behind Path of Exile, they had a showcase video talking about their new patch. So on their YouTube channel, they did a live stream where they're like, this is the stuff you could experience in the new Path of Exile patch. And so many people shut off the BlizzCon feed and they went to go watch that stream that they had like at some point they had like 150,000 people watching, and like the number of downloads the next day like tripled. It was insane.
That's good. Oh, I don't know if you did you see that new Hearthstone stuff that they're trying to push today?
No. What's this? What's this?
Call I think they're trying to do like
Oh
it's kind of
no.
like King Breaker but for Hearthstone. It's called like Hearthstone Mercenaries. It's like a weird like adventure roguelite card game or something
So
that they're
they're
trying to do.
doing so Blizzard Hearthstone when I left Hearthstone they were trying to push a bunch of different game modes, and so one of them was Battlegrounds is the big one, right? People talk about like, oh, Battleground, like Hearthstone sucks, but Battlegrounds is good. Um and so they've done like the roguelike story mission thing before in the past. This is probably they always do like the same thing, but kind of with like a different little lemon twist to it. I don't know what the lemon twist of this one would be, but yeah, this is kind of like par for the course for them for sure.
Mm, trying to grasp at straws. Like, look, we have some new content for you.
Oh sure. Uh, you okay?
I keep hearing my neighbor. It's my neighbor's dog, so it's
Oh
squeaking.
okay. I can't hear anything by the way.
That's good. I
Okay.
can like barely hear it over
Oh, by the way, speaking
the
of Blizzard, so two things. There's a recent update to the whole Blizzard saga about the lawsuit with the state of California suing Blizzard. So two things
Oh
happened.
yeah, how's that going?
Well, like I don't know if we just. So I talked earlier about how Jalen Brack was essentially fired and let go. He quit. You can't fire me. I quit. So two things happened.
You
One,
can't quit because you're fired.
so somebody on Twitter who works at Blizzard, I don't remember her name. I'm gonna link the tweet in the description below. But somebody who works in like somebody who works in Blizzard basically reported that the HR department. So during the lawsuit, the HR department is currently in the process of throwing away as many documents related to the case as possible and like trashing them and getting rid
Really?
of them during the middle of an investigation. So like not only are they touching files that are like that should be legally speaking should be frozen, like do not alter, like during this investigation don't touch any of these, and they are just throwing it out like they're throwing out the baby with the bathwater, as it were. uh and so this girl, this not girl, this woman who works at Blizzard, uh she made this tweet, and that tweet went viral. So yeah, I guess the HR department of Blizzard is currently in the process of trying to get rid of as much damning evidence as possible. So that's fun. And
Jeez.
so the second thing that happened is now you actually told me about this. I actually didn't hear about this until just recently. Um, so in Overwatch, there's a character called McCready who's like a cowboy, kind of like Clint Eastwood inspired kind of character. Like it's high
Played,
noon.
played by the legendary Matt Mercer.
Is that Matt Mercer? That's great.
That's Matt Mercer, yeah.
Okay. By the way, Matt Mercer, also the guy who plays Crom.
Hey.
There you go.
And that's all he's famous for. No, I'm just
by the way, just this week I added to my amiibo collection. I got Marth. I got the Hero King.
Hey.
The Hero King has arrived. I got
That's like one of the first amigos, right?
I got a good deal on him too. Normally he goes for like $40, and I got him for 22.
Nice.
It was on a third-party website, but yeah, I was happy about
There
that.
you go.
But no, anyway. Yeah. So that's so yeah. McCready. And like I've never
No,
been
it's,
like
it's free.
I've never been an Overwatch fan, but I guess
I
they're
love
changing the
McCree.
name.
He was actually one of my mains.
They're changing the name of the character to something else because I guess the guy McCready was named after some predominant member of the Blizzard staff who is currently under fire and under accusation during this lawsuit.
Yeah.
Do you
That's,
know more? Do you know more about that?
That's all I know.
Okay.
They haven't revealed what they're renaming McCree to, but I don't know.
I guess
I don't know how
the
I
only
feel
other thing I
about
know is they released a statement on their official Twitter that basically said, from now on, we're going to be really careful about naming our characters after real life people.
I don't know. It just seems like the usual like
you know, it's
Blizzard tone deafness.
It's,
you know,
it's the same boilerplate response. You know.
Yeah. Still, I think it's just like it's very tone deaf because like
I think a lot of people are mad because they're like, so wait, Blizzard, let me get this. Essentially, this is kind of the opinion of a lot of people on Twitter. I'm kind of paraphrasing what a lot of people are saying here. They're saying, so let me get this straight, Blizzard. Instead of like taking steps to fix the toxic culture in your company and get rid of shitty management and fire Bobby Kotick, the world's most overpaid CEO who does nothing, instead of doing any of that stuff to actually take progressive
Right,
steps,
he does it. Yeah.
like instead of taking progressive steps to actually do that stuff, you're going to appeal to the masses by changing the name of an Overwatch character. That's your
very
response to this. Not like, oh hey, we're getting rid of shitty people in our team and we're getting rid of Bobby Kotick, our worthless CEO. No. Listen. I feel like, you know that one Futurama clip where Richard Nixon is in Bender's body and he's got the guitar and he's playing the acoustic guitar and he says like, I'm meeting you halfway, hippies. That's what Blizzard's doing right now. They're like, we're meeting you halfway here, you Antifa fucks.
Oh God.
Essentially, that's kind of what they're saying.
It's kind of what they're saying. But yeah, I don't know, but honestly, like I think one of the persons that this McCree guy is actually like, he was part of that whole Cosby Room situation.
Oh yeah, we talked about. By the way, if you want to know all about that horrendous nightmare, you should check out our episode about it.
I will
by the way, so if you're watching this on YouTube and you want to watch that episode, look off to the side there. It's the episode. The thumbnail has Bobby Kotick with devil horns on it, so it should be really easy to find.
That guy looks. God, he looks like if Randall from Recess grew up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's good. I'm using that from now on. Holy moly, that is so true.
How delicious.
I can imagine
moist.
Bobby in his office going, "How deliciously moist the sales figures for this quarter."
Oh God.
But anyway, that's it. That's kind of the. We'll keep you updated on more Blizzard stuff as it happens.
Buy a card as much as you'll buy a card as much as you want.
We'll keep you guys posted.
Gonna play Warzone.
The more that
we'll keep you guys posted. We'll keep you guys.
The more info we learn about the Blizzard lawsuit, and if anything actually like good happens, or anything like important happens during that lawsuit, we'll keep you guys posted because I'm very curious about this. I know Nick has less of a dog in the fight, as it were, but like I'm very curious about where all this is going.
I know it's going to be a shit show.
I would love it if the state of California came down like hard on these guys.
Well, they come down on everybody else.
This is true. Anyway, moving on. What else we got going on today? We talked about OnlyFans. We talked about Blizzard. Okay, this will be a quick one. So Nick, I know that you and I love Fortnite because we're cool, young, hip kids that are, you know, Fortnite. We are Fortnite gamers.
I've only
Fortnite
ever played
Victory
Fortnite.
Royale. Yeah, Fortnite. We about to get down. Get down.
Get down.
We're Fortnite gamers.
No, we're not. I've only played Fortnite one time.
Listen,
just one.
No, Nick. Listen, we're hip and trendy kids. We play Fortnite all the time.
No, we do not.
So recently, Fortnite in partnership with Times. I'm not sure if it's Time Magazine or if it's like the company that makes the magazine, but essentially with Time, they are running an event right now where they are showing they have like an event or something where like you as your Fortnite character can go watch the I Have a Dream speech like on a big like essentially like what's like an outdoor movie theater like on a big screen. Your character in Fortnite could stand there and watch the speech play out on the big screen.
No, great! I can't wait to see Neo, John Wick.
I know.
Rick,
Thanos.
Thanos.
Scarlett Johansson. Black Widow.
Master Chief.
Is Master Chief in Fortnite?
Yes.
Oh shoot! Okay.
It's a famous meme because
okay.
There's some kid who's never played Halo in his entire life. It's like it's Fortnite, and I'm just like,
that's funny.
You sweet summer child. No,
but so here's the thing. I feel really conflicted about this because on the one hand, I think it's actually really cool that a game as big as Fortnite is actually like doing something cool with its platform and trying to do something like positive, especially since Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King Day is in like February, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in February.
I'm not sure why they're choosing to do this now, but I mean, like,
I don't know.
I like it because like it's obviously it's obviously a very important moment in like pretty modern US history, but at the same time it really kind of takes the wind out of your sails when you have there's a clip on Twitter where there's a guy who has the Rick Sanchez avatar, and he's doing some like dabbing and like Fortnite dance in front of the "I Have a Dream" speech, and so it's really hard to take the speech seriously. And by the way, it's an important speech. Like I said, one of the most prominent moments in recent American history. Um, but yeah, it's really hard to take it seriously when you have Rick from Rick and Morty like dabbing in front of the screen. You know, it's like
Yeah, it's
it
kind of
almost
distracting.
it's almost like low key kind of making a mockery of it a little bit. Like you're sort of like
A
low
little.
key like making fun of it, kind of. And like
Well, it's like, is
I
that more on Epic Games for actually doing that, or is that more on the fault of the people actually there?
I mean, that's an interesting question, right? Um, I think that Epic should have turned off dancing and like emotes during like if you enter this event,
But that's the thing.
you should not be allowed to use like emotes or custom avatars or something like that. Like you should only be allowed like honestly, they should just make you a random avatar when you come into this thing. Like I don't know, like I think they
I
could
don't
have.
know. If you're going to spend so many goddamn V-Bucks on trying to get a Rick Sanchez skin, like you can wear it. I think it's just more of like it's not so much Epic's fault, but it's just more of like, just the kids being
No,
there or
because like here's
whatever.
the thing, like you can the kids are gonna do what the kid like. Honestly, I disagree with you. Um, the kid like the behavior of kids is predictable, right? You can always count on them to do the worst thing possible, right? And like and listen, I'm not even saying that they're doing it maliciously,
At
but
least
like they're doing
oh
it.
my god,
They're kids, right? They're kids.
yeah,
And Epic,
they're
I think
dumbass kids.
they're dumbass kids, right? They're gonna do dumbass stuff on on Fortnite, right? Um, I think the ball is in Epic's court on this one. I think they are responsible for like, hey, we need to moderate this event and kind of limit like what players are allowed to do because otherwise it's gonna look really awkward and like it feel this whole thing feels awkward to me. This whole like
I'm honestly
the
shocked
way that this
that's a,
event the way that
that's a,
that this event was implemented feels really awkward to me.
it is very awkward.
Yeah.
It's like bordering on cringe. At least they had the foresight to remove the ability to use your guns
Yeah.
during that
Oh
thing.
my god. Can you imagine the clips on fuck? Oh my god.
You didn't think about that?
No,
Sit on
I
that
didn't
for a
think
second.
about that until just now.
You have
Oh
some
my
just some
god.
shitty kids
Oh
doing
my
shit.
god.
So I will give
So
Epic
awful.
yeah,
Oh god.
yeah,
Thank God they had some foresight.
yeah.
I didn't
Chew
think
on that
about
for a second.
I didn't think about that at all.
Yeah, because
Oh.
I don't know if you've ever heard a Fortnite chat. It's awful. That's the main reason why I've never played Fortnite ever again. I've only played it one time. And the second I got in, I was accosted by 10 or 11 or 12-year-olds
Nice.
saying, "Oh, it's Cabo. Do you speak the English?
Oh no.
No habla español?
Oh no.
Me amo." And I'm just like, "Oh no, no."
There was this one time I was playing StarCraft 2 and I was playing the Marine. There's like a custom map called like Marine Wars where like
Mhm.
you get like a never-ending like you get like a little home base and that you have like Marines that spawn endlessly and you have like a it's basically like a big like it's sort of like like a light MOBA but in StarCraft 2.
Oh, so it's
And
like
one time
vendors.
and one time I forgot to disable voice chat, and so there was like these three dudes who were on my team who like wouldn't shut the fuck up over the mic.
Yeah, sounds about right.
And like I didn't have a microphone plugged in back then, so like literally I was using like
A lot of sexual activities and mothers.
and like I couldn't figure out like how I couldn't figure out how to turn them off. And so I'm like,
Oh no. Dude, this was stuff that I thought that I just have completely grown because I grew up in Xbox Live, Halo lobbies, and Call of Duty lobbies. Like I've heard it all,
right.
and just hearing all this crap from these kids, these little children.
You're like,
is
I am
horrifying.
too old for this crap.
I am way too old for this crap.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
I'm 30. I don't need to have people like saying I'm gonna fuck your mom
Right.
over an Xbox Live.
Doing your mom. Doing your mom. Is that a little blasty from the pasty for you?
Oh my god, I haven't heard. Oh god.
Little blasty from the pasty for you?
A little blat. Oh
If you
god,
have no
yeah.
idea what I'm talking about, go ahead and
Good.
go ahead and Google My Favorite Martian sometime and see what you get.
Oh my god. Holy
Go
crap.
ahead and
I
see what you
totally
get.
Dude, that guy, Jesus. That guy really ran it to the ground though. Like at the end of his tenure for My Favorite Martian, he was doing like these weird like Linkin Park covers.
Yeah, I saw those. Yeah.
I'm just like, what? Oh, YouTube. Those were the days.
Anyway, shall we talk about our next? Did you have anything more to say about being a real Fortnite gamer for Martin Luther King?
I think it's just one of those things like the intentions were good.
The intentions were good.
They meant well. Probably shouldn't. I don't know. I'm conflicted.
I
on
think
this
that
one.
they should. I think they need.
On one hand, like if
Yeah.
you have like if you get rid of the dancing, you have to get rid of all the emotes. But like, what if there's like, what if they have like a clapping emote or like a jump for joy emote or something like that?
Sure,
during this whole
I could get down with that. But I think it's one of those things where like once you start making exceptions for that, you start to kind of like once somebody shoves their foot in the door, it's like, so wait, I can clap, but I can't like flip off Martin Luther King with the emote. What do you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm honestly shocked that that thing has not turned into a PR nightmare.
Yeah, honestly, especially like I know we talked about this earlier, but like, why in August? Why is this happening now?
Did the speech happen in August?
Oh,
Am I remembering
oh,
that right?
is that right? Is that the anniversary of the speech? Is maybe that's what's happening?
I'll look it up.
Okay, but anyway, I don't know. I feel like
That would make sense.
I feel like this was like the concept of this idea was interesting on paper, but I think the execution was sloppy.
It is very sloppy.
Sloppy execution, but like I think that they should try to do something like this again, but like they need to have tighter restrictions.
It was
Okay.
August 28th at
Oh, okay.
1962.
Okay, so that kind of that's interesting.
Okay, that's right.
That kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would settle for that.
Well, I only have one thing to say about this whole situation. Victory Battle Royale right now. Yeah, that's right. We about to get down. Get down.
Oh god.
10
that
kills on the
song.
board right now. Just wiped out
Just wiped out
Tomato
Tomato-
Town.
What does that even mean?
My friend just
What
got-
does that mean? What
My-
is a tomato town?
Well, that's one of the
Is it VeggieTales?
No. Well, like so. Okay, I was joking. I don't play Fortnite, but I know enough about Fortnite to tell you that Tomato Town is one of like the locations on one of the maps.
It's one of the areas on the map.
Yeah. So like Tomato Town makes
Tomato-
sense. Like
Okay, sure.
yeah.
but I felt like such a boomer.
We
there
are
for a
Fortnite. I know, right? These kids today with their Fortnite and their TikToks.
The tickety talks.
They're
I know.
fa-
I started posting my TikToks again.
These kids with their Fortnite, their TikToks, and their vape pens. I remember back in my day that I would inject cocaine straight into my artery, and we were thankful.
We injected original OG Coca-Cola into our veins, and we liked it. That's how we survived walking 6 miles in the snow.
These kids today, they want participation trophies, and they want to feel like they're special snowflakes. It just irritates me to an unreasonable level. These goddamn kids.
You having the sniffles there,
These-
Mister?
Well, yeah. How do you? Well, yeah. I have a cocaine addiction.
Oh,
Of course, I'm gonna be a little jumpy.
if you look, it's actually really funny because like I love studying the history of narcotics and stuff like that. Some people call me a narcheologist.
Narcheologist. Jesus.
But yeah, I love like studying that facet of history.
I told you about this off stream, but there's a really fascinating 2-part episode of Behind the Bastards about Hitler's doctor. During the final
Yeah,
days,
we did talk about this off a stream.
during the final days of the Third Reich and World War II, Hitler had a doctor. So like Hitler had really bad gastrointestinal problems. Like I guess it was reported that he would like fart constantly and like he would throw up and fart like pretty much like multiple times a day. And so
oh dear, Taco Bell is fighting against
and
me.
so he hired this guy to be his personal physician. And what this guy would do is he would inject Hitler with like vitamins, and so you have to keep in mind that like in World War II, like
Not
vitamins are still kind like
1940s
you
vitamins
have to keep
or
in mind that like
vitamins.
the concept of vitamins was still kind of like a new science back then, and like they like barely kind of had their thumb on the pulse of like what this stuff did.
Yeah.
So what this guy would do is he would inject vitamins and caffeine. Like he would basically take vitamin C and like mix it with mix it with like caffeine or speed or other like drugs, and he would like just hardline that into Hitler. And so Hitler would like immediately get like a rush and be like, I feel well now. You fixed me. You cured me. So this guy,
It's like Mia Wallace from Pulp Fiction.
right, exactly same thing, right? Like like same kind of thing. So Hitler kept this guy on as his personal doctor up until like the day that he died. But here's the thing. This guy was just basically making stuff up. He's basically like a college student doing a project. Like he's just making this stuff up as he goes. And so what he would do is like he had Hitler on this entire regiment of like different drugs. So like one day he would like inject Hitler with like vitamin D and like bull testosterone and like speed, and then like the day after that he would inject Hitler with like vitamin B and like cocaine and like caffeine, and like so he basically was just like he was just putting random shit together and injecting it right into the Fuhrer's arm.
Jesus Christ.
So this caused Hitler to have, instead of helping Hitler during the last days of World War II, this actually like did the exact opposite and basically turned him. It basically turned his insides into toothpaste.
No wonder he shot himself.
His insides got turned into toothpaste, and he basically became like unstable and like crazy.
Well, even more unstable and oh my god! I was looking up some old vintage medicine bottles. I found, you remember, Bayer, like the
yeah,
medicine
yeah. They used to work with the Nazis. I think they worked with their pharmaceutical company that used to like they made aspirin, right? During World War II, they made aspirin, I believe.
That's not the only thing that they made. I'll post this in the chat.
Right.
They have one. They just have a glass jar of like heroin.
Oh yeah.
Dude, heroin was everything back
But
in the day.
so
It's
there's a
crazy.
it's a really good two-part episode about the drug culture of Nazi Germany. It's a really good Behind the Bastards episode with starring Robert Evans from the iHeartRadio network. Not sponsored. I just think that they're a great show. You should go check them out.
Oh, maybe old Adolf should have had 100 sugar-coated compressed tablets, number 625 yellow.
Yeah, that's right. Yellow,
Flatulence.
right here.
It has something called Nux vomica.
Gross. All right. I don't want to get stuck on Nazi drugs, so we're moving on.
You brought it up.
I know. You're the what did you call yourself? The narcotics expert? The
Archaeologist.
You're,
But I was talking about like
you're the narcotics whisperer.
I was like talking about like old school like Dr. Pepper.
No,
and
I
stuff
know,
like
I
that,
know.
Whatever the hell that like Bayer came up with.
It's my fault. I'm sorry. It's all my fault.
I didn't bring the Nazi shit up. You did.
I will have my Nazi scalps.
Oh, by the way, if you see any Bayer bottles on some Nazis, bring them to me.
That's right.
I need to test
Brad Pitt's out for blood.
He was like doing snuff or something like that the entire time.
Oh, for sure.
Inglourious Bastards.
Anyway,
and I don't know if you've ever heard of snuff. It's awful.
So to add a little bit of brevity to the show, we've done the hard. Speaking of drugs,
I don't know. My Hitler Taco Bell line went over pretty.
So we've kind of using a drug analogy, using a drug metaphor. We've overcome the symptoms, and now we're settling down to the high that is the rest of the weekly chat.
Oh no, I'm going through withdrawals already of weekly chat.
So I need
to cure it by liking and subscribing and clicking the bell.
The only cure for what ails you is to hit the like button and leaving a comment, preferably within the first hour of the video. Also, sharing this video with your friends, and also liking and leaving a comment and subscribing. Oh god, I'm repeating myself. I've got the mania.
Oh no, my co-host, he's a train spotter.
There's a baby on the roof.
Oh my god, that is the worst movie to watch stoned ever. That was one of the worst mistakes of my life, is watching that movie stoned.
Yeah, that was a horrible idea.
Yeah.
Why did you think that would be a good idea?
I don't know.
Oh my god. Oh my
When that
god.
watching that and Mother gave me a panic attack.
Oh, Mother, understandably, that movie is a panic. That movie is the embodiment of a panic attack.
Oh my god.
Anyway, let's talk about not drugs and not Hitler, and talk about anime instead. How about that?
Yeah,
How about that?
be down with that.
All right. So we haven't
So
had
you
like a.
you posed a question to me
Oh,
earlier.
yes.
What's an underrated anime that you feel like nobody has ever seen,
Yeah,
but
well,
you feel like deserves some love and recognition?
I think that there are like certain anime that kind of get the spotlight. You have your B stars, your My Hero Academias, your Kakiguruis, your like your Sword Art Online's. There are stuff that
Yeah,
kind of like has the Dragon Maid. You have your stuff that
Dragon
kind of like takes up the spotlight. Um, and I feel a lot of the time there are shows that are often that are great shows and they deserve more recognition, and they're oftentimes kind of left in the dust, or people don't know about them, or people like I'll bring up this has happened multiple times on the show where I'll name drop something and you'll be like, wait, what? And like or like I'll be talking to someone else like on the internet and be like,
That's
oh
like, or somebody in the chat or the comments will ask us like, "What the hell are you guys talking
or
about?"
like
Never heard
like oh like I love Gankatsuo, it's one of my favorite anime, and people are like, what the hell's
it.
Gankatsuo? Like like
But I get enjoyment out of that because
yeah, for sure.
Oh, Gung I should have put that on my list. Damn it, it's probably
okay.
on your list.
It's not actually, because
Really?
well, here's the okay. So what Nick and I decided to do is we're gonna each talk about three. It was gonna be 5, but I wanted to make sure that like we didn't take too much time with this section, so it's only 3. I limited us to 3 choices. So Nick and I we have 3 choices each on like kind of obscure like anime that like I don't feel gets the recognition. Like these are anime that we feel like kind of deserve a spotlight. They don't really get the recognition that they deserve. And then like yeah, maybe if you're looking for something new to watch, or you want to if anything that we talk about is interesting, maybe go check these out. Do you want to go first, or should I go first?
You go first.
All right. If
I'll
that's the
be
case,
right back.
let me just switch up my setup real quick, and we'll get started on this. Right here. All right. Just kind of scooch that over a little bit. Okay, perfect. Right there. Right there, like that. Great. So I put mine. So I have mine on disc. So I'm gonna show both the title and like a screenshot image of each anime that I talk about. And so the first anime I'm gonna talk about today is called Welcome to the NHK. And yeah,
I love this show.
yeah. So Welcome to the NHK is an anime that came out.
Too.
This one came out at, I believe, around 2006, 2007, kind of in that.
It was like 2005, 2006.
This was one of the. Yeah. I could be dead wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure this was one of the first anime to come out from the Funimation Save program.
It was, yeah.
If it wasn't one of the first, it was like in one of the very early batches of.
Not only do we have great content on here, now we joined my OnlyFans for a little ASMR.
Oh
little,
no!
Little Zevia opening.
Oh, are you gonna do soda opening ASMR?
Yes.
Okay. The audience is currently like the main character that I'm showing on screen. He looks nervous and upset.
I'd be too.
So what is Welcome to the NHK? Welcome to the NHK is a series about there's a phenomenon in Japanese culture called a hikikomori. It's basically like somebody who stays inside all day, who's like really antisocial. They don't want to engage with society. They oftentimes don't have like a job or anything like that. And this is actually
I just watched the hikikomori documentary last year. It's horrible.
There's one on Netflix, right? I think there's one on Netflix or Hulu or something.
I believe so. There was Hulu. The one I watched was on YouTube.
Okay. And so the main character is this guy named Sato, and he I think is like 26-ish. And so he has been by himself.
Early to mid-20s, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's like 26-ish. He's like a fairly older guy. I mean, compared to you got to keep in mind this came out kind of during the era of like Bleach, Naruto, and One Piece, where like shonen kind of younger protagonist characters were kind of more common. You didn't really have too many anime like outside of manga. You really didn't have too many stories about like college age people or like young adults. That I mean,
Really? No.
today it's still. I mean, even today it's still kind of uncommon in the anime space to have stories about like people in their 20s.
Yeah.
It's not that.
There's a few.
It's
It's
not.
not common, but I
It's
feel
not
like
that
it's getting
common.
more
But
common.
especially back then, it was definitely not as
Back
common.
you like if you saw a college age student, they looked like they were like 40s and retired. Almost.
The only anime that was like about college age kids that I can remember from back when NHK was premiering was probably like Honey and Clover, and then like years later, like Tatami Galaxy would be a thing. Also stuff like uh, March Came In Like a Lion is kind of
Oh,
about like college age kids, sort of, kind of.
was he in college? I thought he was a high school student.
Well, wait, there's like some characters that are older. Like the main character's a high school kid,
Okay.
but I think some of the other kids are in like college. But anyway,
Oh, Tokyo,
anyway,
Tokyo Ghoul. That's typically a college age.
yeah, I'm gonna talk about NHK for a minute. So like,
Yeah.
So Working with the NHK is a story about this guy Sato, who is this loner who lives by himself, and he basically secludes himself off from the rest of society. And because of this, he is extremely paranoid and constantly has delusions about being part of a conspiracy. So in Japan, there's a television network called NHK, and it's basically like it's sort of like if you live in the United States, it's basically the equivalent of like ABC.
Yeah.
It's like
Or like
it's like a major it's like one of the major like broadcasting television, or like it's like CBS or like ABC, kind of like one of the big like broadcasting networks of the country, right? So Sato is under this belief that the higher ups of the NHK corporation are trying to catch him in some conspiracy to capture him for unknown reasons, but like he's paranoid that they're gonna get him. So he never leaves his house. And he's like horrified of the outside world. And I know what you're thinking. How is an anime about a guy who never leaves his house and never talks to anybody? How could that possibly be a good and interesting idea for a show? And the answer is, you just kind of have to watch it to find out.
it is a.
I will tell you
story.
that the show kind of starts off as one thing, and it kind of ends. It kind of goes through like transitional arcs. It becomes sort of like another thing entirely at the end.
That's true.
Um,
Like it's really hard to explain without spoiling.
I will
it,
say
but,
that like the main driving point of like, so this first episode where it kind of establishes that Sato is this loner, and he's like very paranoid about the world, and he doesn't want to engage with the outside world. And the story properly starts because there's this girl who comes to his home, and she basically claims that like, oh hey, I can like help you with all your problems, and I can make you like a functioning member of society again. All you have to do is trust me and basically take like, I'll teach you how to be kind of like a normal member of society, but you kind of have to come hang out with me, and you have to leave your house. And so Sato is kind of
hijinks ensue.
so Sato is kind of split about this because he wants to trust this girl, and he wants to trust this girl, and he kind of wants to like kind of break out of his shell. But on the other hand, he thinks that she might be involved with the conspiracy, and so it's sort of, the anime is kind of about this mental battle of Sato trying to like figure his stuff out. And I think that the anime overall is a really interesting study of honestly, it digs into a lot of like Japanese subcultures. It digs into like hikikomori subcultures. It digs into like really hardcore otaku culture. It digs into pyramid scam culture. It digs into like it digs into like it digs into like cult, like kind of like cults and stuff like that, and like the way that like certain like cults function. It's really interesting. It's really emotionally kind of gut wrenching, and I don't think it was fairly popular back when it was new, but I think it has kind of fallen out of the conversation. Not many people bring it up, but it's one of my favorite anime of all time. It's not for everybody. It definitely is an anime that kind of will leave you, like a lot of episodes will leave you in like a dark place, but there are moments of hope and brevity that make those moments of darkness kind of like, you kind of enter this long dark tunnel, and then you kind of start, and then there are these moments where you see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I think that journey is really incredible, and I think more people should experience that journey. So you should go check out Welcome to the NHK.
You should. That was one of the only shows that I ever watched completely from start to finish in one sitting.
It's like 26 episodes or whatever.
That's right.
How did you watch 26 episodes in one day, you crazy person?
I know that was back in the day where like I just watched. I
And
watched
by the way,
Future.
especially a show like NHK, which is like not the kind of show you should marathon like that.
No, it's not.
No.
I watched all of that in one sitting. That was back during the era where I just would pick a 25 episode show and just watch all of it in one go.
Ugh, absolutely insane. Moving on.
Yeah,
Or
I also did.
or do you want to
I did that.
do you want to alternate, or do you want to just have me do all mine?
Let's alternate. Let's
Yeah.
keep it fresh.
Yeah, go for it, please.
All right. So the first. Okay. So as you know, and some people of the audience may not know, is that I am a huge fan of the mecha genre of the giant robots, and there's so many good ones that I can make a whole list off of mech shows, but I restrained myself. So I managed to pick one that really stuck out with me, one that I still think about constantly, and one that doesn't really get the love that it deserves and respects. And that would be a Martian successor, Nadesco.
Oh hell yeah.
I love that show so much. It's got the dub is great, the mech designs are wonderful. It is legit, like it's not one of those, and it's hilarious. And I don't mean like, oh, that's kind of funny. I mean like you are literally splitting at your sides laughing.
The thing
at
with
this.
Nadesco that when you're watching it, it's kind of strange because it's hard to pin down whether or not Nadesco is like a comedy is like a parody of mech shows, or if it's like trying to play itself like seriously. Like
It's
the-
like Gurren Lagann before Gurren Lagann.
it kind of tries to like play. It kind of tries to have its cake and eat it too, where like the first half of it is like without a doubt, it's like a comedy that's almost like a parody. It's almost like a Saturday Night Live skit that's like a parody of mech anime. Like so for example, probably one of my favorite jokes in the entire show is like they're in this big like battle cruiser type thing, and they have this tremendous battle with like these space aliens, and like a crap ton of people on their crew die. Like I think it's like several hundred people die.
Yes.
And so there's an ongoing joke in the following episode where the captain, who is this like I think she's like 17 years old, this like ditzy kind of like high school girl.
The purple hair girl, yeah.
Yeah, she's this like super genius captain. So there's a whole like comedic bit where she has to go from like because there's like several hundred funerals happening on the ship because it's like this big Star Trek Enterprise kind of like it's like a huge ship that people that like thousands of people live on.
Yeah,
And,
it's kind of like Battlestar Galactica. If
So
you get
there's an
that.
ongoing bit where she has to go from like she has to go from part of the ship to part of the ship, basically basically performing funeral rites for all these different people. But here's the thing, so some people are born like some people in the crew are Jewish, so she has to do like a Jewish ceremony, and some people are like Christian, so she has to do like a Christian burial ceremony, and some people believe in like some of the crew members are like Shinto, so she has to do like a Shinto ceremony. And so she goes from like funeral to funeral, and it's supposed to be like a funny bit, but it's like it shouldn't be funny because she's talking at like funerals. It shouldn't be a funny bit, but it ends up being funny. It's like it's really weird. The show plays kind of fast and loose with emotions.
It does. There's also usually in the trope of mecha genre, usually the mentor of the main character dies like heroically and stuff like that. And the main character's mentor figure does die, but it's played for laughs.
Yeah.
And it's actually pretty funny. Because usually, like, when the mentor figure dies, he dies in, like, a blaze of glory. It's like, I'm going to save the ship and my family and my friends.
Right.
But in this one, like, there's these enemy bug people, like, sneaking through the ship, and they just manage to catch this guy, and they just shoot him, like, Indiana Jones style.
Wah.
Oh, my God. I was just like, oh, it was like, imagine if, like, Kamina was outside of the Gurren Lagann mech suit and just got shot.
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. I think Gurren Lagann. I never thought about it, but I think you're right. I think Gurren Lagann took heavy inspiration from Nadesco because there's a lot of it's tonally very similar to Nadesco in some ways.
It's like a prototype version of of Gurren Lagann is
Yeah.
Nadesco. Also, it's got Spike Spencer.
I
Imagine she.
It's true, Spike Spencer. It's in like in a non-Shinji role. It's got voice actor Spike Spencer doing the main character.
I think there's actually a lot of like Ava voice actors and actresses.
A lot of
in,
Ava alumni,
Nadesco.
if you will.
And like he's kind of he sounds exactly like Shinji. It's pretty hilarious. Like but it's basically Shinji if he wanted to get inside of the robot,
Right.
or it's like he actually likes being a pilot, kind of. I don't know. It's kind of like it's.
I
kind
need
of
to
weird because they don't make-
I gotta go back and rewatch it because like I felt very like I like Nadesco, but like I don't know. I think I watched it. I need to watch it again to kind of reaffirm how I feel about it.
The last time we watched it was like 10 years ago or something like
Yeah.
that. I have the super crazy box set. With all
I
the
at one
movies
point in time I had the Blu-ray set on my Amazon wish list, and I think I took it off just because it got too expensive.
Yeah, it got really out of print. I think they just reprinted Nadesco, I think. So you might be able to pick it up again.
Okay.
right.
I'm gonna move on to my number two. My number two.
Go.
Okay. So, hey, do you like? Are you a shonen anime fan? Do you like
I am.
things like Hunter x Hunter? Do you like things like Bleach and Naruto, kind of in that similar? Do you like things like Zatch Bell?
I love all those
Do you
things.
like things like Jujutsu Kaisen?
Yeah.
Do you want to see the redheaded stepchild version of that?
Sure.
So there was this show that came out, and I believe this was like, I think this was like 2000. Don't quote me on this, but I think it was like 2004, 2005. This anime came out called The Law of Ueki. And now what the
Oh my god, I forgot about this.
now
shit.
what the premise of this show is? This is a shonen anime.
Look at that Gideon logo. Look.
Yeah. So what the premise of this anime is that there's this teenage boy named Ueki, and he's sort of like what's the best comparison? He's kind of like the main character of Jujutsu Kaisen. He's this dude who's like very upbeat and very like happy. He sort of has like a lot of the anime cliches. He eats a lot. He's kind of like happy-go-lucky.
Probably hits like a
And
brick
his
shit
name
house.
is Ueki, and his teacher in school is this guy who is part of this big kind of like Zatch Bell style tournament where like, oh, like I can give you like a cool superpower and you could be a participant in this like big giant tournament thing to like decide who's going to be like I think it's like the ruler of like the demon world or something. It's something
Sure.
kind of like that. It's like there's this competition happening. So these like masters have these like superpowers, and they can like bestow superpowers upon like kind of like their chosen like each person can choose like a participant to like represent them in the tournament.
Mhm.
And they can kind of bestow upon them like certain superpowers. And so the main character has his homeroom teacher is this guy that's like, all right, man, I'll give you like, I have like this superpower, but like you might not like it. And he's like, I'll take it, whatever. So Ueki gets the ability to turn like garbage into like plants, into trees. So like what he'll do is like he'll have like candy wrappers in his pocket, and he'll like throw them at enemies, and they'll turn into like a huge ass like tree trunk.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a Giorno in a bit.
And then eventually he like it's sort of like a My Hero Academia type of situation where like, but in addition to his normal ass superpowers, it's essentially his ability to turn garbage into trees is like his quirk. Like if you think about it from like a My Hero Academia, like that's his quirk, right? But then sort of like Deku, he gets like they figure out pretty quickly in one of the first couple arcs that like, oh, not only like he has the potential to learn these like secret techniques, right? Like he has this like unique bloodline, or he has this like unique like potential to learn
Looks
like
a lot
these.
like Naruto.
Yeah, it's kind of it's sort of like Naruto. It's sort of like Luffy, how he's like he has the unique ability to have like only certain people can have conqueror's haki. It's the same kind of thing, where like
Okay.
he has the potential to learn these like techniques to like essentially summon these things called the ancient treasures. So he can basically summon like nature. It's sort of like if you've ever seen Seven Deadly Sins, it's kind of like King, how he can use his weapon and transform it into like different like abilities and weapons and stuff. So he can like throw a storm
That's
of
right.
he can like throw a storm of knives, and he can summon this like giant like there's this Pikachu looking thing in the background. He can summon this giant Pikachu thing.
Hmm.
And so eventually there's this whole mystery as to like what's the purpose of the tournament, like who are the participants, why are we fighting, and it's this like and there's this whole mystery that unravels as to like what's actually going on behind the scenes during the tournament. And it's really good. I don't know, like I no here's the I described what the anime is, but I will here's the caveat. Now here's the reason this show did not catch on as a shonen show, okay? And this is there's a reason why Law of Ueki never caught on in the West, even though there was a DVD set that was printed, but it never caught on, and I'll tell you why. It's because it's fucking weird. It's fucking weird. Like
It's ahead of its time.
you know stuff like Bobo, and how
Yeah.
like that show is kind of like a gag like a weird gag comedy.
It's
Well-
like Gintama, yeah.
Well, imagine, if you will, a shonen anime like My Hero Academia, and they intercut like scenes from Bobo into the fights.
Oh, that sounds awful.
And by the way, like the powers in this show are so weirdly specific. Like they're almost like JoJo stands. Like so there's this girl with the glasses who's like friends with Ueki, and like her ability is to like if she like puts on her like and she gets a superpower near the end of the show. So her whole thing is like if she puts on her glasses and like makes a specific gesture with her hands, she can like hypnotize you, but only if you're right-handed. Like that's how specific and weird
Are basically
some of the-
JoJo's.
that's how weird and specific some of the powers in this show are, and that's just this
That's
show
so strangely odd.
this
It's like,
show is weird with a beard, but I sort of dug like when I watched it, I kind of dug it.
okay.
Uh,
I'm just trying to.
and by the way, if you like shonen stuff like tournament arcs, rival characters, villains becoming good guys, this show has that in
Oh.
spades.
I love all that shit.
Yeah, so that's
That's
love.
like-
That's
I
love
know,
Ueki.
I know it's so played out, but I love that trope of like
hell
the
yeah.
villain like Piccolo and Hiei, God knows what else, whatever I can think of.
But it's here's like yeah, I would recommend you go check it out. Here's the other caveat. It's really long. I think it's like over 100 episodes.
That's a bit. At least it's done. I hope
Oh yeah, it's done. The show wraps. The whole series wraps up.
it's not like Air Gear or like every other thing from that era. Where
But
it's
yeah,
just like read
so
the manga, it's
this is kind of
stupid.
this Law of Ueki kind of came out in that similar era of like of shows like Hitman Reborn, where like you would have like 100+ episode like arcs, like that kind of thing. So yeah, it kind of came out in that same era. Anyway, would you like to go to your number 2?
I would. Speaking of Hitman Reborn, that is my number 2.
Yeah, boy.
I adore that show. So what Hitman Reborn is? Oh God, how to explain?
It's
Hitman
a
Reborn?
shonen anime.
It's a shonen anime. The mafia is apparently it has superpowers.
Yeah, so
And
like okay, imagine
It's kind of like Deku, Deku again, where like this mentor figure finds like this kid that's not good. He's like got no power. He's got no like strength. He's kind of a nerd.
he's a dweeb.
He's a bit of a dweeb. What do they call him? Like no luck Suna or something like that?
No good Suna.
No good Suna. And so this this mentor figure sort of like
Well,
brings
like,
him into this
so-
world because we find out that he is actually going to be the next head of
The
most
Vongola
powerful mafia.
the Vongola crime the Vongola mafia family.
The Mongol. I said Mongola for some
The
reason.
Mongolian.
Mongolian. No.
So,
the
like,
Mongola.
Essentially what happens is like so Suna's dad so Suna is this kid living in Japan with his mom, and his dad is always away on business trips. And the reason that his dad is away all the time is because his dad works with the mafia, the Vongola family from Italy, to be specific.
Technically, he does not work for the Vongola family.
I thought he
works
worked
for,
with
like,
them.
No, he works as like the police, like the mafia police. for that. They're like a third party. They're like
Okay.
imagine like the Revolutionary Army in
Oh, okay. I thought for some reason I thought he worked with the Von Gola family.
he does, but it's kind of like this secret police sort of thing where they kind of like balance every
Well, anyway,
other like
regardless,
family.
regardless of any of that, so one of the head figures of the Von Gola crime family is this little baby, or is he? There's this
Or-
little like baby wearing a tuxedo named
And
Reborn.
the pacifier.
He has
An
he has a,
orange pacifier.
there's this baby with a pacifier. He wears a suit.
He-
It's kind of like
he
the
also-
it's kind of like the boss baby. Like he's kind of like
Kinda, yeah.
um
He also has a gecko that turns into a gun.
right. And so one day he shows up to Suna's house and is like, "Hey, the head of the Von Gola crime family has decided that you are going to be the next head of the family. You're going to be the I believe he's going to be the 10th.
He's gonna be the 10th.
He's going to be the 10th head of the Von Gola family." And Suna's like, "What are you talking about? That's ridiculous. I'm leaving." And so he leaves for school, and this little like baby, it turns out, it's not a baby. He is
No,
actually
he
this.
is the
He's actually
world's
this.
deadliest hitman.
He's he's the world's deadliest assassin, essentially.
Yeah.
And he basically beats Suna into submission and is like, "You don't really have a choice in any of this. Like,
No, you're
listen,
stuck.
I know your dad, and the leader of the Von Gola family has decided that yep, you're gonna be the next you're gonna be the next head of the family. You don't
right.
you don't really have a choice, man. So sorry." So Suna, um,
It's really sad, like
Yeah.
recommending Hitman Reborn because, like, we've stated this for years.
yeah,
The first 20 episodes of the show are not indicative of the rest of the show. It's kind
Right,
of
right.
I'm gonna say they're a sit, but that's not. How can I explain? It's kind of like what we said with Nadesco. It starts off as one thing and then it morphs into something else.
right.
Because it's very slapsticky in the first 20 episodes before like the show really gets started. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's almost like a parody of shonen for the
Yeah,
first 20 episodes.
Yeah, it honestly, the first 20 episodes are more akin to something you would see in like Nichijou, more so than like Naruto, for example, right?
Right, Nichijou's a good example.
It's like
But
so
then-
a lot of the first 20 episodes are about introducing and establishing new characters and stuff. And like to be credit where credit is due, they do introduce the main characters that'll become part of like the core team in those first 20 episodes. But
Yeah.
the first major arc of the series doesn't happen until literally episode 20. So
Yeah, and there's a lot of characters.
so between
that they have.
episode 1 and episode 20, you're kind of stuck with a lot of like filler.
Yeah.
Honestly, and I think it was actually like pretty good, but if this show was made today and if you showed this show to modern audiences,
Oh,
I
would cut those first
I
20
think a lot of people are not going to have the patience to watch those 19 episodes. But so yeah, like the first definitive story arc of the entire
like-
manga doesn't happen until
Yeah, you-
episode 20.
You basically have to wait almost 2 seasons by today's standards.
Just to give you a comparison, that's the equivalent of like imagine you're watching the first Naruto, right? And imagine 20 episodes before you get to the part where Naruto fights Zabuza and goes to the Mist Village.
Yeah, that's
That's
an
basically
eternity.
the equivalent of what happens.
Yeah, but yeah, after the certain arc happens, like I don't want to say too much, where they have to go to we call it the theme park arc, and that's where like we see a lot of characters and stuff like that fight. That's when it really starts going into like this great like battle. Like there's
It
There's a
becomes a
lot of-
much more traditional shonen manga after the first arc, especially
it's
since
funny.
the villains of the first arc are like they're not messing around.
no, they are not. They're actually kind
because-
of horrifying.
Because essentially what happens is there's this organization called the Varia, and they are sort of like the hits.
Oh no! I was talking about Mukuro.
Oh,
Like, it
Makuro,
really-
right? Oh yeah, so yeah, Makuro
Yeah,
happens first.
because
Right.
Mukuro in the
You're right.
theme
You're right.
arc
You're right. You're right.
happens first.
You're
and then the Varia happens. The Varia arc is some of the.
You're right. I forgot all
greatest-
about that. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. But yeah, Makuro, he's kind of like. How do you describe him? He's kind of.
Makuro
the
is like
EA.
yeah. So he's this.
He's-
Honestly, Makuro is a fascinating character. Because he's essentially like a scheming. He sort of is like a light Yagami type of like manipulator.
He's kind of like a
He's a very like
Orochimaru type.
yeah, he's a very self-interested manipulator who is like he only really cares about like himself and his
Himself.
kind of his goals. He doesn't really care about
his
anybody else.
posse, yeah.
So he well, yeah. Makuro is
Who
basically
also,
like
who also has like one of the most busted abilities in shonen history.
Makuro is basically like he's sort of like 𝐏𝐥𝐞𝐚𝐬𝐞 Ikemaru from Bleach. He's this guy who like you can never tell like what he's thinking. Like you can tell he's always planning like 20 steps ahead of you. And
True.
he is this guy. So in addition to never kind of showing his cards, his power set kind of reflects that because he uses illusions to like mess you up. He
Right?
can like essentially if you've ever seen Naruto, I'm using Naruto as a comparison because like in my
It's
opinion,
pretty close.
I think a lot of people have like kind of know Naruto stuff, so I use it as kind of like a point of reference. I hope that's
That's a good barometer.
I hope
for,
that's
like,
okay. But anyway, so like
No, that's perfect.
if you've seen like Naruto and you've seen Itachi, and Sasuke fight with the Mangekyo Sharingan, it's the same kind of thing where they use like illusions to completely mess up their opponents.
Yeah, he kind of has like the Tsukuyomi almost from Itachi, where like he kind of hypnotizes him and then like he warps with your perception of time.
Right.
His illusions are so powerful that well, honestly, that's like that's like a S tier like jutsu in Naruto, but this
Right.
guy has an Anime Reborn where
And so yeah, the first
his illusions are so powerful, he's actually like warping reality and making the illusions real.
right, he almost he has the power to basically make illusions like come to life. So he'll like
Yeah.
essentially he can like manifest and create like anything.
Almost anything.
There's a great
And
part of the series where and I won't spoil what happens, but there's a tournament arc that happens later on in the series where Makuro has to fight another illusionist, and it is one of the most visually insane fights I've ever seen in shonen history. It's ridiculous.
It is fantastic.
So it's this fight between like these two master illusionists.
And I like Anime Reborn so much because like there's a very steady progression.
Right.
But it never peters off to where like, oh no, what are we gonna do now? But yeah, it slowly builds into something that's like almost like JoJo, like
Yeah, I think that the power curve of the anime where the characters start out and where they end up, I think it happens at a pretty natural progression. The only
Yeah.
thing that kind of sucks though is like my only beef is like once box weapons are introduced, a lot of the characters don't use a lot of like the stuff that they're known for using. So like for example,
not really.
there's a
no.
character called Gokudera who's like sort of the right-hand man of Suna, right? He's like he's sort of the Roanoa Zoro to he is the Zoro to the Luffy of Suna, right?
Yeah.
So originally when his character is introduced, he attacks people with dynamite, and like that's like his signature weapon is he has explosives. Like he's got dynamite, he's got firecrackers, he's got like that's how he fights dirty. He fights with explosives. And then later on he gets like there are these things called box weapons that are essentially like, how do I describe box? Essentially they're like weapons from the future. They're like essentially it's like
They are. They're basically using like their auras or what they're called like dying wills and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he has like 5 different like. So it's kind of hard to explain. Like
so like in Naruto, you know how there's like different chakras. There's like wind chakra, water chakra. Yeah,
that's
like
fair. Yeah, it's like that.
It's the same kind of thing. So in the world of Reborn, there's like these different like elements that represent like the flames of someone's burning passion. And so each one, it's sort of like Nen from Hunter x Hunter, how there's like different types of Nen, stuff like that, where like each element kind of has like pros and cons to it, and you could use it in different ways.
Yes.
So essentially, what box weapons are is like there are these like high tech weapons that allow the characters to like
Imagine like a Pokeball or something.
Yeah. It's like
that's powered by aura.
Yeah, so like
or
you can
or the dying will.
You can like open this Pokeball, this little like gotcha capsule essentially, and like get like a cool superpower.
Yeah, or like you get like a little Pokemon like aura
yes,
thing.
so some of them have like animals in them. Yeah, so all of the main characters have like a little animal companion that they get with the box weapons, including Yamamoto. Sorry, you can actually see behind. I actually have a poster of Yamamoto. Yamamoto. Sorry, I'm like my head is in One Piece right now, and I keep wanting
Right.
to say Yamato.
I know we'll
Yamamoto.
get to that very shortly.
Yamamoto is like
Yamamoto.
is the swordsman character of the group, who is, by the way, the best character.
Hmm. Oh God, who
So
would
he gets a
be?
little like Shiba Inu box weapon.
I know because they turn into like clothes and weapons and stuff.
Yeah, so
It's
when these
very
boxes open, they get like armor and weapons and like essentially like it's like your whole power set in like a portable sized box.
and they're so cute. They're so goddamn adorable.
But anyway, I'm gonna move on to my final one. But yeah,
No.
Him Reborn's real good. I like it a lot. It
I
gets a
know.
little.
Oh, go ahead.
All I gotta say is, you know, I remember back in the day when we were watching Hitman Reborn, and you and I used to hate the character of Lambo.
Yeah.
There's a
how
character.
innocent
There's a character in the show called Lambo who's like this annoying child character. And at the
if you
time,
thought,
I thought that was the pinnacle of annoying, stupid kid
Oh.
characters in anime.
oh no, it would evolve.
And
it would
then
evolve and go beyond.
we started at Lambo and we're here at Mineta. That's the evolution we've come to.
Yeah, he is Hitman Reborn's Mineta.
Oh, most definitely, without a doubt.
yeah. Although Lambo is not nearly as bad
Oh,
as
yeah.
Mineta, not by
Like
a mile.
Lambo's just mildly annoying.
Yeah, he's a stupid kid. He's literally a stupid kid.
All right, moving on to my final pick here. So my final pick, I'm kind of cheating on this one because I think a lot of people have heard about this, but
Can I
enough
take a
people
guess?
I think don't know about it that I'm going to talk about it. It's an anime called Great Teacher Onizuka. It's often shortened to GTO. This is I was talking earlier about anime that star a protagonist that is like out of high school, like someone who's like college age or even like in their 30s. This is another anime like that. Although it does take place primarily in a high school setting, so you know, you take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
So essentially,
But
what
like, it's very rare that we ever get an anime from the teacher's perspective
Right.
of
of
this stuff.
of like a slice of life show for sure.
Yeah, it's always like the students or like the first years or the third years or something like that.
Let me just give you a very very brief
Or-
description
or
of
as I
what
call it,
GTO is.
Yeah, explain, please.
So, GTO is about this guy who, oh god, I forget his name. He's like a punk. So this dude, there was this guy who was like a former like motorcycle punk. He was like the strongest like thug in the streets, as he was the leader of a motorcycle gang. And eventually he gets a little bit older and he like graduates high school and realizes like, oh, you know what, I kind of want to do something with my life. And so he kind of like shuffles from like shitty job to shitty job until one day he meets up with his former friend who was a former member of the motorcycle gang. And he says like, oh, hey man, it's good to see you, Onizuka. I'm on my way to like my teaching job. And Onizuka's like, teaching? I can do that. But again, Onizuka is like a punk ass. He's not trained to be a teacher. He doesn't have any kind of educational background. He's just a punk ass guy.
Yeah.
Former like motorcycle gang leader. Like he would get into street fights and brawls and stuff. Like he was like a punk, right? And so he somehow winds his way into an interview, being a teacher at this like very prestigious private high school. And the show from there is a comedy about so he gets, so not only does he get like he gets the job at of teaching at this like really prestigious high school, but on the condition that he teach the most controversial class that no other teacher wants to take. It's like, oh, you want to be a teacher? Great,
Class.
take F class, or I forget what they're called, but I think they're called like F class or something. Like, oh, great, you want to be a teacher? Great, you have to teach this gang up. So the students he ends up teaching have a reputation for also being like the punks of the school. Like they don't give a shit about their grades. They don't give a shit about like participating in like cultural festivals. Like they like pull pranks. They like
That's like a permanent detention.
they're
hall
like
with
smoking
these
all the they're like smoking cigarettes all the time. Like
kids.
this
I think
is
one of them pulls a knife or
this
something.
is the class full of punks, right?
Yeah.
And so
Degenerate.
Oni's degenerates. So Onizuka is this guy who is this former degenerate. He is put in charge of these like miscreants, and so from there the show is basically like sort of a gag of the day comedy about Onizuka learning from the students, but then like it's kind of a give and take relationship where like Onizuka realizes that these kids have been looked down on by like basically the adults in their life have failed them. Their parents have failed them. Their teachers have failed them. Their principals have has failed them. Like law enforcement has failed them, and so that like he sort of understands what they're going through, and he's like, well, wait a minute. The reason why these kids like don't give a shit about school and they don't give a shit about life is because you've given them nothing to look forward to. You've like essentially like have oppressed these kids their entire life. And so now like you don't understand like the stuff they're going through. So I'm going to be cool and I'm going to teach them and they're going to teach me. And that's kind of the whole premise of the show.
Yeah, they learn from each other. There's several like
And,
American teacher.
oh, by the way,
movies where
it's a comedy. It's not a drama. It's very much a comedy. Although there is
it
some
is very much.
it's a
Dramatic.
it's a very gag-filled comedy.
Yeah. Also, it's voiced by the legendary Steve Blum.
In the dub, Steve Blum does the voice of like every other male character in that show.
It's like, is it Wendy Lee and Blum for like 90% of the crew?
Yeah. So
It's something-
so Onizuka
ridiculous.
kind of has an on again, a very on again, very off again, like 2 steps forward, 10 steps back relationship with this other teacher at the school who's this young woman who's like she's like, oh, I really like the way that you like speak to the kids, and I really like the way that you're like reaching out to them. But at the same time, Onizuka is this perverted idiot. So like every time it looks like they're gonna like get closer together and have like a more concrete relationship, he ends up screwing it up somehow.
Oh my god.
And that's kind of and so Onizuka also has a rivalry with the principal of the school.
The principal is one of my favorite characters.
So the principal of the school is this like curmudgeonly old bastard.
If you guys have I know you've never seen this, but for the audience out there, if you've ever seen like Trailer Park Boys, he is the Mr. Leahy of Great Teacher Onizuka. It is hilarious.
So he's this like stuck-up guy, and he is like a company man. Like he has devoted his entire life to being a principal and to like.
Is he the vice principal or is he the main principal?
Oh no, he's the vice principal. Sorry. There's the main principal. Like she's less of a prominent character. I think is he the principal or the vice principal? I think he's the principal if I remember correctly. Anyway, he and Onizuka kind of have this back and forth, and so his whole thing is like, I'm gonna get Onizuka fired. And so he keeps trying to frame him for stuff, and he keeps trying to get him into trouble and mischief, and it's a whole cat and mouse game.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it's really good. If you haven't seen it, like, if you want just like a really solid comedy,
the episodes are really short too. I think they're like 10, 15 minutes a piece.
yeah. I think there's like 20-minute episodes as well.
Okay. But yeah, they're like really short form.
Anyway, do your last one, and then before we do the One Piece report, I have to use the bathroom.
I also have to use the bathroom. All right, so I had a really tough time picking this one.
Yeah.
But you actually showed me this show, and like I might be cheating a little bit with this one because it's kind of popular, but it's not popular enough in my opinion, and that is Black Lagoon.
Yeah, Black Lagoon's so good.
Black Lagoon is fantastic.
It's so good.
The dub is fantastic. The action's great. Like the drama.
Very briefly describe what Black Lagoon is.
Okay. So pretty much this Japanese businessman gets kidnapped by these pirates, so to speak.
Yo ho, yo ho.
But then the company that he's working for basically screws him over and says like, "Nah, you're dead. You're dead to us."
They basically like, so he's out there to deliver like an important file to somebody. So he's out there on a business trip for his company in the South China Sea. And his job is he's supposed to deliver like a file, like a thumb drive to somebody, and then come back.
Or knowing the area, it's like a CD or something.
Yeah, so he's supposed to like deliver a thing and then come back. And so he ends up getting captured by pirates. And so this mercenary band called the Black Lagoon have to come in and save him. and then he
Hello,
basically,
Lagoon Company.
and then yeah,
I-
his company basically leaves him for dead. And so instead of going back to his shitty office job, he essentially decides to become a mercenary in the South China Sea.
It's fantastic. Who does the? But it also has like one of the most badass.
It's the guy who
ladies.
does the voice for Light, yeah, Light.
Brad,
Brad
Brad
Swaley. Yeah, Brad Swaley.
Swaley. I don't know. I
Yeah.
miss that guy.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
are you, Brad? Where are you, Brad? Again?
Yeah, Brad Swaley does the voice of Rock, the main character.
Who does Revy? It's like I want to say it's Hillary Hagg, but it's
Anyway,
not.
talk about it for a minute. I'm gonna hit the bathroom real quick.
I also have to use the bathroom too. So
Hold
here,
on the show. Hold on the show for like 2 minutes, and then we'll switch out. Okay, we'll tag team.
Okay, I'll talk about it. All right. To describe Black Lagoon is kind of like watching a '90s like action movie, almost. The characters at Lagoon Company are fantastic. Revy's fantastic. There's this guy that has like a Kakashi vest on named Dutch. Also, they have like this American guy named Benny. Also,
I think the author has been on record saying it was very much inspired by Quentin Tarantino movies.
yeah,
for
I would
sure.
definitely.
Anyway, do you wanna
Yeah.
do you wanna go use the bathroom real quick? I can talk about Black Lagoon for a bit.
Yeah. Second.
Yeah, of course. What I like about Black Lagoon specifically is just it's very much unfiltered. It kind of deals with a lot of things like trading and trafficking in like drugs. There's an episode where they go on a submarine that's like a Nazi submarine to like there's like Nazis like trying to find art at the bottom of the ocean, and Revy has to go down there and like essentially like exterminate like all these Nazis, and she steals all of their like iron crosses and stuff to sell to people. And kind of like the balance of the show is that Rock is this guy who is our audience proxy character, and he comes in and he's kind of from this modern day Japanese society, and he's coming into this like world of like smuggling and like crime, all this different stuff, and he kind of has to learn to kind of play ball, as it were. And he comes in and is like, oh well, like we're doing some like pretty like morally like we're doing some really morally great stuff here, like what are we doing, are we even the good guys? And the Black Lagoon Company and Revy, like kind of the main crux of the show is that Revy is this this assassin for hire, basically, who is just like completely like chaotic evil. Like as long as like she's being paid to do something, she'll like kill pretty much anyone. And so kind of the main conflict of the show is sort of like Rock and Revy kind of like trying to come to terms of come to some sort of like mutual understanding to each other's feelings, where like Rock is very much like kind of like he considers himself to be like, oh, I'm like completely pure and innocent, and all this stuff that we're doing is like really messed up. And Revy is like, I'm like chaotic evil, and I can't love or care about anyone. And so throughout the course of the show, they kind of come, it's not even like, I wouldn't even say it's like a romance so much as it's like they sort of meet in the middle, and they kind of come to this understanding that like
But do you care if I spoil what kind of happens in the manga?
oh
a little
sure,
bit?
go. Yeah.
So it's very, very heavily hinted that Revy actually does develop feelings for Rock
Okay.
later on.
Yeah, I've only seen the anime. I can't comment on the manga.
Yeah, it's pretty fire. I think a new chapter just came out or something like that. They were making a big deal about it, but it was either a new chapter because they were going to make a big Black Lagoon announcement, and guess what it was? It was like a pachinko machine or something. I was so mad.
Great. Anyway, I think that was all of the anime recommendations. Yes.
Yes, man, I had so many more that I wanted to gush
Maybe
about.
we should do we'll do the segment again sometime in the future for sure.
Definitely.
Do you want to finish up with the One Piece report this week?
Let's fit it.
Tales from the Grand Line.
Whoa! Jesus Christ! You're trying to kill me?
Oh,
Yeah, your audio is ridiculous, bud.
Jesus. Maybe.
How about now?
There you go. Yeah, you
Whisper sweet.
can't go full Among Us. Yeah, you can't just go to the front of the microphone and be like Among Us. That's right.
Oh. Oh God.
God
I don't
damn.
think my ears have. I don't think my ears have ever recovered from that. Oh God.
Live
Alright,
live from the ground.
Live tales from the Grand Line. Them Straw Hat Boys are really putting up a pickle. How are they gonna get out of this bucket of syrup? Turn out next week for this week's episode of the One Piece Report or Tales from the Grand Line.
What is this, like Tales from the you remember that show on PBS, Tales from the Book of Virtue?
No.
Really? You don't whoa. You don't remember Tales from the Book of Virtue, the PBS show about the kids who go to okay, so like essentially it was like a show that was like it was sort of like an animated version of like Tales from the Crypt, but like for kids, and it was like retelling like these really famous stories. Like they have an episode about like Gift of the Magi. They have an episode about like Aesop fables. They have an episode about like anyway. So like, the plot of this show. And by the way, when I tell you this, I swear to God, this was a real show. I'm not. It's gonna sound like a crack dream, but this is the real premise of the show. So there's this boy and girl, and they live near a mountain. They live near a mountain range, and they go up to the mountain range, and they talk. And there's all these animals that live in the mountains that they talk with. And there's a talking bobcat, a talking buffalo. There's like a hawk. There's like a gopher. There's like a little Timon and Pumbaa type of guy. There's a little like meerkat, like a gopher, and they have
weird.
conversations about like stories. And the buffalo will open up a book, and he'll like read. He'll read tales from the Book of Virtues.
Oh, no. I don't remember this at all. I just looked it up right now.
Yeah, yeah. So you saw it, Tales from the Book of Virtues.
Yeah, I saw what it looks like. I don't remember the show at all.
I knew so many people growing up that would like their parents put them in front of Tales from the Book of Virtues. Okay. Anyway, not relevant. Let's talk about One Piece.
One Piece. Oh man. So, do you want to talk about
There's a couple
first,
things that
before we
happened.
talk about- Yeah, there's a couple things that happened. I want to talk about the most pressing thing that just came out. They just announced the Seiyu for what Yamato is going to sound like.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like Sora Ayanami? No, that's not it. Hang on. I'll put it. So Yamato got their voice, and it sounds tremendous. They also showed like a little like mini trailer about like what she's going to look like in the anime too. They look fantastic.
I saw it was a good trailer for sure.
Oh man.
But yeah,
Oh,
in
goodness.
terms of manga, some stuff happened in these last two chapters.
I know people are losing their minds over the show.
I'm happy about a couple things. So Zoro finally got out of the bandages. I think
know,
Chopper
right?
gave him like I don't know what Chopper gave him, but he gave him something, steroids or something, speed.
Well, it's like this weird mink thing where it's just like I think Zoro's gonna be out of commission after this,
Or
for,
like an adrenaline shot or something, right?
yeah, because I think he's gonna experience like twice the amount of pain after he's done with this fight.
Oh boy.
So I think whatever, like he's probably not gonna feel it now, but once he's done, I think he's probably gonna snap, crackle, pop like Luffy did. At the end of the week.
Yeah. But
It's
yeah.
not gonna be pretty.
So now Sanji and Zoro are fighting King and Queen, the two headliners of the Beast Pirates.
That's right.
And then Jack is also fighting the two mink or the cat one.
No, it's the cat and the dog. They're fighting.
Oh yeah, they're both there. That's right. Although I think the dog is fighting Pero or whatever, the guy from Big Mom's crew.
Parasparrow.
Parasparrow. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I think he got knocked out.
Yeah. Because I think he was trying to avenge like Pedro.
Yeah, sounds about right. But yeah,
But yeah, so now, now we got Zoro and Sanji fighting their main fight of the arc.
Oh man,
Which is great.
It's great. I didn't realize that King actually had swords.
No,
to
see,
use.
that was the best part for me. I'm like, you didn't expect King to bust out some swords, and even he says like, I don't have sword techniques. I just thought these were cool. Basically,
I know. And Zoro's just like, fair enough. Oh
But
man.
I think it's very
Although
fitting.
they're
I think
dropping
it's
some really interesting tidbits for the future of One Piece.
I think it's very
How-
fitting though that Zoro. Well, especially since we learned a little bit about Zoro's backstory, that he's potentially like the ancestor of the sword god or whatever.
I know that was so cool.
There's that stuff, and so I think it's fitting for Zoro in the Wano arc to fight a sword. Like he needs to have a sword fight.
This is true.
So I don't think that Oda would allow Wano to happen.
When was the last time he had a proper sword?
Well,
fight?
I mean,
It's
he
been a
fought
long
that he's to be fair, he's actually gotten quite a few sword fights in Wano.
Yeah.
He fought that guy on the bridge.
No, but I meant like the end fight of an arc.
Oh, sure.
Usually he fights like what was it, Mr. 1.
Dude,
then
that fight in fucking Arabasta is so good.
It's pretty metal.
Especially
literally.
since at the end he's defeated and he's like, "What will you try to cut next? Diamonds?" And he like crashes.
I know. I'm so excited. What he fought Kaku,
Yeah.
who was kind of a swordsman, or he said.
Yeah.
he was
Well,
a
no, he
fool.
was a swordsman.
And then who else did he fight?
Well, he fought Pico. He's not a swordsman though.
No.
Pico was just a big like Sandman.
Yeah, he was a big brickman.
Mr. Sandman.
Mr. Pika Brickman. And then he fought Virgo. Oh wait, no, that wasn't Virgo. It was who did he fight? I can't remember, the snow woman. But yeah, like it's been a long time.
Yeah, what was her name? Oh shoot, I knew it in practice. I don't remember.
I want to say it was Hazel.
Monette. Yeah, Monette.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think he's had a proper end of the arc fight with a sword.
Like he hasn't had like a proper like sword fight with somebody.
Yeah, of course he's having like little tiffs and taps with the samurai and stuff like that.
There's like the guy on the bridge he fought for sure, but now he has Enma, which is great.
Yeah, he turned that shit black.
But yeah, so you are right. Speaking about King for a minute, Marco the Phoenix, who's also kind of there. And by the way, I thought this was a really good idea that Oda did this, where Marco the Phoenix was basically like Zoro was kind of like down for the count because he was in the bandages obviously, and so I think Marco the Phoenix was trying to kind of help out Sanji with fighting King and Queen. And once Zoro kind of gets up and basically like taps in for another round, Marco the Phoenix, by the way, he's not defeated. I think he still could have gone for another couple rounds, but I think he realizes that like, oh, this is so if Kaido is defeated here, like if the Beast Pirates and Kaido are defeated here, the Straw Hat crew will kind of be on the level of like the Gold Roger Pirates, right?
They're close, yeah.
I need to as a member of like the last generation of the Whitebeard crew, I need to step aside and let Sanji and Zoro kind of like cement themselves as like the wings of the Pirate King.
Well, it's like that's the thing though. Like I don't know if you remember in early One Piece when we first met Whitebeard, he was looking for a successor to his crew. He's just like, Marco, you're the first division commander. You're gonna do it. It's like, oh no, Pops, you're gonna live for a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
A long
well,
time.
I think it's weird. It's so funny because in the modern day manga, a lot of the pirates, after Marineford, everybody thinks that the Whitebeard pirates are basically like they're basically walking ghosts. They're like the remainder of the Whitebeard pirates. It's like you guys lost all your powerful players. Like you're nobody.
Yeah, like they got it's like they remember the Payback War that we never got to see.
Yeah,
like that. They probably got their shit rocked.
So nobody takes the white. So like it's sort of the era of the Whitebeard pirates is over.
Which goes to show you how scary Blackbeard's crew.
Yeah, exactly.
Is. If they're able to defeat the Revolutionary Army and the Whitebeard pirates within a pretty short span of time, it's kind of ridiculous. But yeah, I also like the bit of lore that they're peppering in.
Yeah, so Marco was talking about how King is potentially a member of some kind of race of like fire bird people that live on the top of the Red Line, I guess. Yeah. There's I don't know if they were also implying that like Sanji might have something to do with these guys because
I think because of the fire thing.
Well, yeah, because I think King or Queen says like, how could you? I think he's one of the only characters who's ever been like, hey,
you're not supposed to be able to do
how
that.
are you doing that? Yeah, essentially, right. Which is a good question, by the way.
Yeah, because when you go from Water 7 to Anus Lobby, they kind of pull these powers just kind of out of thin air.
Which is a good question for King to ask, like, hey, how are you able to manipulate? And
It's
I
like
think,
you're,
and I think a lot of people wave it off as like, oh, it's hockey.
yeah.
But like,
Oh, also there's some interesting developments with Sanji too, and
yeah,
probably one of the main reasons why he hasn't popped up. I'm surprised he has not tried to whip out that raid suit, but I think it's gonna be one of those things where
yeah,
like the more he uses the raid suit, the more that his body's changing because he says like, "Oh, my body feels really
I
weird."
feel really weird. Yeah, I feel
Not in a
funny.
bad way. But I think he's kind of awakening. I think he's gonna awaken like that crazy.
Well,
Like
I think
exo.
I think the raid suit like unlocked the potential that was like I think he hit a wall in his training, and I think like the
Mhm.
raid suit because he is a Vinsmoke. And I think like there's even if he was kind of like the failed experiment, I think that like he was given something. I think some like there was a reason he was part of the Vinsmoke clan. They did something to him to where like they wanted him to be like a super soldier.
Yeah, but yeah.
So I think it's the type of thing where like, oh, well, like now his like potential the raid suit, which so like all the members of the Vinsmoke clan, they're so used to wearing these suits that like basically maximize their potential.
Basically like Power Ranger suits.
Yeah, like they're
Almost.
these Super Sentai suits that like maximize their potential. And I think Sanji wearing it throughout the course of Wano is like, oh my, like I think like the suits themselves actually unlock powers in the Viz Smoke family.
Hmm. But yeah, I can't wait to see what comes of that. I feel like depending on who they fight after this arc, it's going to be very, very important that they be on the top of their game because
Yeah,
there's only two crews, maybe three organizations that really are going to push them to the edge, and that's going to be the red-haired pirates, the Blackbeard pirates, or the world government. Because I think
right.
after that, because once Luffy and or once Kaido and Big Mom go down, I think the world government is going to be
Now
gunning after
here's,
Luffy
by the way, I had a question for you. Okay,
too.
so in the past, when Luffy has defeated the big bad of every arc, right? Your Arlongs, your Wapples, your like your Crocodile, your Enels. I feel like most of the time the world government swoops in and then like puts them in Impel Down or like kind of sort of mops up after Luffy when he shows up. Um, okay, I don't care if Law and Kid are strong enough to defeat like Big Mom and Luffy is strong enough to defeat Kaido because like odds are pretty good he's not going to kill Kaido because like that's not how Luffy rolls.
No,
How do you think the world government is going to like how are you going to hold and keep Big Mom and Kaido in captivity?
well
What?
that's the thing. Kaido has escaped from Impel Down before. They
Right.
put him in like level 6 or something
They
like
drop
that, and he still got out.
Didn't
They
he
can't
like
kill him.
didn't he do that thing where he jumped off the top of Impel Down or whatever or like he jumped off of Skypiea or some crap and like
Yeah,
he didn't die or whatever?
no, they've tried to kill him like 50 times. They've tried to behead him like 20 times. They tried shooting him. Nothing seems to work.
So like even if Luffy beats him, he's not going to kill him. So like
No.
Kaido's not just going to go away and neither is Big Mom. What are they
Yeah,
going to do? What is the world government going to do?
I don't think it's like I don't think you're gonna be able to like Magellan's not gonna be able
Like-
to do shit to him.
Like
Maybe.
Crocodile, like even back during the Arabasta arc when Crocodile was defeated, like the world government could come in and be like, Crocodile, we can take care of Crocodile,
Yeah,
or or like, you know,
Like, they
like
still-
all these guys.
like even Don Flamingo, they can kind of
Right.
just have an easier time.
He's the strongest of the Shibakai, and even with him, there.
debatable.
Yeah, who do you? I guess I guess Mihawk. Okay,
Mihawk, yeah.
that's fair.
I don't know. Mihawk is such an enigma
He's a
at this
mystery
point.
for sure.
It's like, is he Yonko level? Is he Commander level? Like nobody seems to know.
But yeah, it seems like even a defeated Don Flamingo could be kind of like reined in by the world government or by the Marines or whatever.
Yeah.
But like Kaido and Big Mom, like they
Yeah,
have
I don't know.
they have entire kingdoms. Like
Not
like
yeah, they have like giant swaths of the new world under there. They have so much territory.
they have like because I think technically speaking, like for a while, Big Mom owned like she had territory on Fishman Island. Yeah.
She was the queen of, and plus she was the queen of Totland too. So
Yeah.
technically
But like all
Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
and it's like Kaido is like, okay, if they defeat Kaido and the Flying Six, like that's the entire, like essentially right now they're defeating the entire military of Wano, right?
Yeah.
So like, okay, fine. If they beat Kaido, that's fine. But like, try going up to Whole Cake. I would love to see the Straw Hats walk up to Whole Cake Island after the fight with Kaido and be like, "Hey, this is our territory now. See what happens. I dare you."
No, they. I think. I think it's gonna be one of those things where like, after the dust settles, literally the second after it settles, they're gonna try to pull some cheese where they're just gonna. The world government's just gonna swap, like, like come in and take their
Yeah.
territories, kind of steal it from.
Oh, okay, okay.
Because here's the thing, they've been having the world government has this announcement from the science division that they have something strong enough to replace
Oh, the ancient
entire-
weapons. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or I don't know if it's the ancient weapons, but they have something on their back end that they can get rid of the Shibakai. And that's crazy because it's like One Piece is all about balances.
Right.
Like one organization is not quite stronger than the other. So you have like the Yonko, the Shibakai, and then you have the world government, the revolutionary
Like
army.
all of the Shibakai combined could like. I was gonna say maybe they would stand a chance in a fair fight with the Four Embers, but no.
No.
Kaido and Big Mom are so ridiculous. They're in like another class.
They're in another hemisphere.
Like,
imagine
it's to the
like,
point where like
even-
the seven Shibakai.
Even Whitebeard, at his lowest, he was a sick, dying man.
Yeah.
Still just completely destroyed almost all of the world of all of Marineford.
Yeah, basically. He would have if like Ace had already, like if they showed up to the island and like Ace was already dead, like if they had already executed Ace, he would have leveled. He would have leveled all of Marineford.
He would have atomized that whole island.
Yeah.
Like there would have been no ifs, ands, or buts. No fighting. He would have just atomized. It would have just been blipped out of existence.
And then
It would have been
Blackbeard
swallowed up like Atlantis.
shows up. He's like, ah, damn it, I was too late.
I know, right?
Next time.
Who knows? Next time. Although that's another thing too, how crazy Blackbeard actually
That's
is.
the thing. How crazy is Blackbeard at this point? We don't know is the thing. We know he's powerful enough to beat Ace, but like that's not saying a whole lot.
He defeated Marco pretty easily.
Oh, I mean,
And
that's
so much.
okay.
And he also has enough. He has a pretty high bounty now. I think he has like 2.5 billion.
Oh
berry
Jesus,
bounty
is
or
that like the
something.
highest bounty?
No,
oh,
the highest bounty.
Is Dragon?
No.
I think.
That's what they say. But the
Okay.
highest bounty that we know so far, Roger has the highest bounty at 5.
Well, I was talking about people who are alive.
People who are alive. Oh, it's got to be Dragon then.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It has to be. Because he's the most wanted man in the world.
Right.
He's got to have a pretty nice. How funny would it be? I wonder how big Dragon's bounty actually is.
Right, like
it's got to be, if he's the most wanted man in the world. It has to be over Roger's bounty.
we saw a little bit more of the. We got some time with the Marines in Nika Robin's very brief flashback, but I think after Wano, that Oda needs to pump the goddamn brakes and spend some time with the revolutionaries.
I know.
Like-
Can we just see?
Like in the
We
downtime.
kind of saw like their commanders or whatever, but
Right.
like, I just want to see Dragon fuck shit up. I
Like,
want to.
here's the thing. Like at the end of the day, do you know like what the Revolutionary Army like actually stands for?
Yes, they want the complete dismantling of the world celestial, the
Okay,
celestial
okay,
dragons. They want them gone.
That's fair. But like I just don't know like anything about them. I know that like Dragon's badass, and I know like I don't know like what their, like I guess I know what their goals are, but I don't know how they intend to go about achieving those goals. Like I want a couple more like story threads.
They don't want to get rid of the world government. They want to like restructure it because like, But here's the thing: you can't have one without the other. You can't really
Right.
have the celestial dragons and the world government. They're kind of like married to each other. So if you destroy one, you probably got to destroy the other. But the celestial dragons, that's the Revolutionary Army's top priority.
Like it's so weird that they.
What if dragons bounty is so goddamn stupid, like 10 billion berry or
But
something
like that's
like
the
that.
thing about Dragon is like how powerful is Dragon? Like he's apparently enough of a threat to the point where like is he on level with like the Yonko? Like is he on the level with like Kaido or is like or would even Dragon be like I'm not going to mess with Kaido? Like
I think he's pretty close.
yeah.
Like if I were comfortably say like Mihawk, you can kind of argue that he's kind of like commander level
Yeah.
for Yonko, probably a little bit stronger than
I
that.
think that
That's
Mihawk
the
is like on
problem,
the
though.
I think that he's on par with one of the 4 admirals. Like that's
I think he's
that's
well. It's like
sort of
that's
my headcanon.
that's well. It's like the Emeralds are pretty strong too. They're
Right.
like almost. They're almost. That's the thing, though. It's not as big of a gap as between like the first commander of the Yonko and the Yonko itself. There's
Right.
such a huge power gap. But maybe he could be in the middle of that. But yeah, honestly, I've been wanting that interaction for so long. Not just with Dragon and Luffy. I want Dragon and Garp. I want to know
Oh,
like
now that would be cool. Okay, you know what? That's great. So after Marijois, I think that there needs to be like an entire like kind of like side story where like the Straw Hats and all and like everybody they're celebrating their victory in Wano and they kind of have some downtime. And then the story for like 10 chapters should be this whole thing where like Garp like is like I request a meeting with Dragon and they have this like whole conversation. I think that yeah, that'd be cool.
that'd be great.
Especially
Because,
since
here's
like what is their relationship? Like I want to
here's the thing,
know.
though. He doesn't seem to hate his son
No.
at all. He seems like, oh, he's just a revolutionary. He's just like, oh, my son's a mechanic. Oh well, and he
Right,
just
right.
kind of shrugs it off.
Yeah,
He doesn't
exactly.
say like my evil son. He's like, oh, it's just my stupid son.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he doesn't like that's the weird thing with Garp. I don't know whether it had to deal with him dealing with the Rocks pirates and the Celestial Dragons on God Valley.
Yeah.
I feel like that is one of the main anchors of his relationship because here's the thing, I did the math. Dragon would have been roughly around the age where he would have gone into the Marines because you know that Garp would have wanted his son to go into the Marines. So my headcanon is that whatever happened on God Valley, Dragon was there and he saw how terrible the Celestial Dragons are and the Rocks pirates are.
Yeah.
And that's one of the main reasons why he left, like he is the man he is today, because it makes so much sense.
He saw something like so horrible that it forever changed him.
Exactly. I like to think that he's Garp's son, and Luffy's pretty disgustingly strong.
Yeah.
What sort of training did Dragon get up to or something like that? It's crazy.
I think it'd be cool to see like I think it'd be cool to see how like Dragon got like a devil fruit and kind of like I want there to be
Does he have a devil fruit?
Well,
probably.
Yeah,
It's probably something stupid.
Right. Like the hurricane fruit or something.
Yeah, or like the wind fruit or something like that, because if he's basically like Aang almost, but cranked up to 11 and a half.
He talks to Luffy. He's like, "Hey, you remember Katrina? That was me, Luffy."
Oh. Boo.
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 Sorry.
Oh my god. Okay, but going back to the chapter real quick for this week. I can't believe they actually went through with it and made Momonosuke like.
Oh yeah, he's 28.
He's 28 years old, and apparently he's the spitting image of Odin. That's gonna fuck
well,
up
like
Kaido.
I don't know if he's the spitting image of Odin or if he's the spitting image of his mentor, the guy with the art devil fruit.
Oh, God, what was his name?
Kinemon or whatever.
Kinemon, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. I saw the panel.
Okay.
I'm literally looking at it right now because I like to have the chapter open. Just
is there like a shadow silhouette?
There is a bit of a silhouette.
Okay.
He's really tall, and she said it's a Shinobu, the female ninja and stuff like that. She's just like, "My lord, you look just like." ... We don't.
Yeah,
see it.
that's the thing. That's what I'm worried about. I think they're holding out for a big reveal. I don't know if he's gonna look like Odin.
I think he'll look like Odin. I think he will. I think he's gonna be a weird crisscross between Kinemon and Odin.
Yeah.
Like maybe he'll have like Kinemon's hair and he'll have like Odin's face or something like that, and that'll really fuck with Kaido.
Hey,
He's just like
I'm cracker jacked.
Like, he's cracker smacked. But yeah, man, I feel so bad for Momonosuke. Like he gave up like decades of his childhood.
I think it'll be like
just at
a
all.
like an Ocarina of Time type of situation where like at the end of that game, like that game's version of Zelda, like so essentially in Ocarina of Time, Kid Link goes to the Temple of Time and he in order to defeat Ganon, he basically gives up like I think it's like 10 years of his
It's
he
like 10 years.
he gives up like 10 years of his childhood to become an adult so he has the power to beat Ganon. And then at the end of that
Hi,
game
Ollie.
and then at the end of the game, Zelda basically says like, "Hey, thank you for saving everybody. I'm gonna send you back in time so you can be a kid again, so you don't have to waste the 10 years of your childhood or whatever." I
There's
think
only
something
one more.
I think something like that might happen.
Well, here's the thing: we've seen somebody with that type of
Yeah.
power before. That's one of the worst generation, Jewelry Bonnie. She could reverse that no problem. It's kind
What
of
is
like
what is her power?
it's never been fully revealed, but she has the ability to manipulate the age of herself and the people that she touches.
Oh,
She
interesting.
can turn
Okay.
them back to because that's one of the main one of the main ways that she fights is turning people back into like kids or something.
How old is
But
she then? That's funny.
we don't know.
Ah,
We
okay.
don't know. That's the funny thing. But yeah,
I hope we get some
man,
more Jewelry Bonnie stuff. Also, there's I forget what his name is. The guy from Skypiea.
Wiper?
No, there's the dude
The Mad Monk.
yeah, from the worst generation. There's like the guy from Skypiea.
Yeah, that's Urge, the Mad Monk.
Yeah. I hope we see more of him.
Yeah.
I
Oh man.
By the way, I saw a video the other day that was talking about the worst generation, and apparently Oda made all of those characters up like right before his deadline for doing the Shabandi arc, and like I guess he said in an interview that like yeah listen, I just wanted to add some characters to make
He's
the
one of
arc.
some cool characters.
I just wanted to add some characters in to make this arc exciting. I did not plan for them to be like these really important prolific characters in the rest of the story.
Well, that's kind of that's one of the things that he famously said that One Piece would have been over right now if it weren't for the Shibukai.
Yeah.
Because like you can kind of hear it in his voice, like, man, I just like I wrote in the Shibukai and like they're so cool, so I had to work with them. But it's like once you have those cool toys, you can't really just put them back in the tool chest or the toy chest, you know?
Well, apparently he was talking about the worst generation. And he's like, listen, I like some like
No, it's both.
No,
It's both the Worst Generation and the Shibukai.
no, yeah, for sure. But he said like he said I wrote like 10 characters. If I could go back in time and change something, I would have made it only like 5 or 6 of those guys because there's too many.
There's way too many of them.
Yeah.
Because I don't even remember all of them. There's Scratchman Oppo, there's Hawkins, there's X Drake, Jewelry Bonnie,
Bege.
Killer
What-
Kid.
What is his name? Bege,
Maw.
the mafia guy. He's my favorite.
Oh, yeah, Bengay.
It's like Kingpin Bege or whatever his name is.
Yeah,
The guy who can turn into like a fortress.
that's pretty cool. Oh god,
He and his
who else?
family are so wholesome.
They're so wholesome.
You know what?
That's the weird. You know, people shit on they shit on Whole Cake Island so much.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, they do that's like the family arc because like there's drama with the family.
Fast
for
and the Furious,
Woodland,
Whole Cake Island.
right? So there's like drama between like Sanji and his family and like Benjay and his family and the Lilin clan.
Well,
and
also
shit
like Luffy and his kind of pirate family.
yeah, his chosen family.
Yeah.
It's so sweet. Everybody says like, oh,
Also, there's like the giant guy. I forget his name. The giant who's the father of Bengay's wife or whatever.
oh yeah, what the hell was his name?
He's like the giant that's like stuck in the hole or whatever. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Like yeah. You're right. I never thought of it, but you're right. This whole idea of like Whole Cake Island is this whole arc dedicated.
It's about family.
It's about family connections.
Family, honor, and cars. And
Family,
cake.
honor,
So much
pirates. No, that's a good observation actually.
Yeah.
Especially since Big Mom's like whole thing is that she wants to have like the world's biggest family.
Pretty much. I mean, she's
And then her backstory is all about how like her whole perception of family got completely destroyed.
so
by-
it's so twisted and dark. It's so twisted and dark.
But also,
I love it.
you know what I found out about the mom backstory, and I don't think if they explain this in the manga, I didn't remember this, but like Mother Mabel, like the woman she looks up to, the nun,
Yeah, Mother Maple.
Ma-
Arguably one of the worst
yeah,
characters in One Piece.
I didn't know. Like, I must have missed it when I read the chapter for the first time because I didn't. Because I so for years I was under the assumption that Mother Mabel was like actually like a good person who just like had it.
Whoa.
I didn't. I must have missed the line. I think I missed the line where it talks about her like, yeah, I gathered all these kids for these are good slaves for you. Like, I didn't.
Yeah.
I missed that line because I saw
It
I-
also Mother Mabel is really fascinating because it also brings up a weird complication with devil fruits.
yeah.
Is her and Big Mom because she had Big Mom's fruit. And
Really?
then yes, she did.
I don't remember that. Okay. I gotta,
Yeah,
you know what? I'm gonna go back and watch the flashback on YouTube because like
Yeah.
I guess I need a refresher. Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, so it was shown that she had Big Mom's like soul fruit, and then Big Mom ate her, spoiler, and then she got her devil fruit.
So wait, you're telling me this is an Attack on Titan situation?
It pretty much is, yeah.
we
That's
need
exactly it.
we need to eat this devil fruit user and you gain their power. It's like there were like some like Mesopotamian cultures who like they had this warrior class of like guys and they
Mhm.
like whenever they would go fight battles they would go and like eat they would eat the fallen bodies of their enemies because like apparently they thought that like oh like his
It gave
warrior
him, like,
his warrior spirit is trapped inside
like
his
virility or something.
his
yeah.
warrior spirit is trapped inside his body. If I eat his body, I gain his warrior spirit. Like, yeah,
It's great. Goddamn, I love One Piece so much.
yeah.
You know what? You can keep your Dragon Balls and your Narutos
You
and
know what?
stuff.
I will leave all enough alone. The existence of Boruto and the existence of Dragon Ball Z does not bother and affect me,
It
but
doesn't bother
but
me
I
at
do
all.
not care about them.
No, it's one of those things where like I don't hate that stuff on its own.
No,
I don't like the fans as much. Like Dragon Ball Z fans are some of the most irate.
we talked about this
re-
last time too, but there are a fair number of One Piece fans that I also can't stand. It's mainly the fan, like honestly, like there's like the 4chan trolls, but like whatever. But like I'm not talking
Yeah.
about them. I'm talking like, and honestly, those are in every fan base. I'm
Yeah.
talking about like the weird conspiracy grasping at straws type of fans.
I know it's like Luffy ate this apple with his left hand,
Oh.
which symbolizes Adam from Adam and Eve or something like that.
Therefore,
shit like
Luffy
that.
is God. Check and mate. Joy. Oh
Hey,
wait,
there-
no.
hey,
Check this out.
there's
Check this
only-
out.
Hey, there may be a few gods in One Piece, but there's only one true God, the God Usopp. God Usopp.
There are six letters in the word apple, and there are 6 letters in the word Joy Boy, and Luffy eats an apple, so therefore Luffy is Joy Boy. Foreshadowing.
Whatever a Joy Boy is. Is it a person? Is it a title? Is it?
Well,
Yeah, there's
I think there's a lot of evidence to suggest that.
Luffy is Joy
Well,
Boy.
I don't know
but-
about that, but I think there's a lot of evidence to suggest that Joy Boy is a person because I think
Yeah.
because I think there's like the poneglyph message where like Joy Boy writes a letter to the former
he writes it to
the former mermaid princess.
That's right.
He basically says like, "Hey, I'm sorry I failed you." Like
Well,
essentially like he
it's
writes.
also really strange because like a lot of people know like the people at the very top, at least a few of them, they know of Joy Boy. Like Roger knew about Joy Boy, Rayleigh, Kaido knows about Joy Boy. How the hell does he know about Joy Boy?
Well, I think before the end of this Luffy versus Kaido fight, we're finally gonna get
I want the rocks.
we're gonna
pirates
get
versus-
some kind of Kaido flashback for sure, without a
I want
doubt.
the-
Because
I
like
want the
Big
Kaido
Mom,
flashback so
Big Mom
bad.
kind of hinted at the idea that Kaido has like a fish, like his devil fruit. There's something fishy
Well-
about his devil fruit.
Well, no, he has. It's like the fish fruit, like model Zoan. Here's the thing: there's Kaido is based off of an ancient Japanese legend where like the koi fish that swims up the waterfall and becomes a dragon.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what that is. I think Kaido's crazy dragon form is him like awakening that he was basically like a Magikarp when he first
Oh,
started.
Magikarp, and now he's a Gyarados.
Now he's a Gyarados.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I like that.
Yeah, so I think that's what they're going with. They're going with that whole iconography. It's just like I want to know more of like ever since they introduced the idea of the Rocks pirates, I've been like extra just hooked in because I'm just like I want to know as much as I can because you had people like Big Mom, Whitebeard, and Kaido in their prime, and they bowed down to this guy.
Yeah.
How stupid was this guy? How
And,
crazy
and
was
then
it?
there's this idea that somehow this guy Rocks is somehow family or related or somehow attached to Blackbeard, and now he
Yeah.
potentially has this same power or whatever.
Yeah, it's like I like to think that like my headcanon is or my theory is that Blackbeard is because I did the math. Blackbeard would have been just born after like just after the God Valley incident because they're almost the same age.
Well, you know what's funny is I was watching an episode of Grand Line Review, and and it talked about like stuff that got kind of that Oda left kind of on the cutting room floor, and so I guess at
Mhm.
one point Blackbeard was intended to have two sisters.
Right, I remember that.
So he was intended to have these like two beautiful sisters, and Ace was, and so during the confrontation between Ace and Blackbeard on, I think it's like not Drum Island, whatever island that was.
It was John.
So he goes there to like confront Blackbeard, and I guess originally he was supposed to look down at Blackbeard and his crew, and he was supposed to see these like two like gorgeous women and be like, what the hell is this all about? But yeah, so they were apparently meant to be more prominent characters, which I think adds further proof to this idea that like somehow like the Blackbeard family line, which is somehow tied to the will of D, by the way.
Yeah,
I think that's somehow all kind of tied together somehow.
it does. Well, it's like one could argue that Blackbeard is like the dark mirror of Ace because that would be very fitting and very thematically correct if we find out that like the two main rivals of the golden age of piracy, Roger and Zebek, and then their sons are duking it out with with sort of Ace and Blackbeard respectively. I think
Yeah.
that'd be pretty cool.
Oh, that's good. I didn't even think of that. That's good.
The light versus it's very heavy-handed, but it's like the light of fire versus the darkness.
Damn,
It's
that's a
very
good
cool.
observation. I didn't think about that when with that whole Blackbeard versus Ace thing, where it's like, yeah, it's the son
Well,
of
it's
like
that,
Gold Roger.
that would retroactively make that thing one of the most important fights and moments in One Piece history. I don't know. I like that idea. I don't even care if it's like he's not Zebek's son. He could be just some random kid for all I know.
Or like
he,
he somehow like has a connection to the guy, I think.
I think he does. Like he could be like maybe idolizes Zebek, like Luffy admires like Roger or something like that.
Yeah,
I'd be fine with that.
or Shanks, yeah.
There's something that
There's something funky,
there's a thin thread connecting all of this, and I can't wait.
but that's just a theory. A Nick
A
theory.
One Piece theory, and I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
Anyway, I think we're about 3 hours. You want
That's
to make
right.
it
that's
all right, everybody?
Let's
Thank
wrap
you
up
guys for.
let's wrap a bow tie on this bad boy.
That's right. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow on YouTube and Twitch respectively. You can come find us here at the weekly chat every other Friday.
Every other Friday.
Make sure to smash the bell. Make sure to comment within the first hour. It really helps us out.
Thank you.
And if you want to see this show live, make sure to follow us on Twitch too at Unlucky Magician and the Obsidian Man respectively.
Thank you.
We're gonna start streaming a lot more, or I'm gonna be streaming a lot more. You're gonna see a lot of my sick PlayStation 4 Pro
Epic
skills.
Gamer. Nick's gonna stream all his Fortnite. It's gonna be great, you guys.
I'm never going back to that cesspit. We had a good time.
We did have a good
Folks,
time tonight.
We talked about what was important in life, such as renaming characters that you probably named after monsters.
Unnecessary U.S. versions of Asian movies.
We also talked about to live, to laugh, to love. Good night,
One last
everybody.
thing. One last thing.
Yes.
Make sure to check out my OnlyFans.
A ding, ding, a ding, ding, ding. Good night, everybody.